Hey, what's going on everyone? In this stream, we are going to be building a video chat application. So I'm pretty excited to show you guys the demo. This is something that I was working on this weekend, and it's a new, it's a new system to me that I'm trying out. So I'm really excited to show you all. And before we get started, let me just show you the demo because this stream will be posted after. So I want to make sure anybody watching it can see if this is something that they actually want to follow along before I bore you guys with some intro here. So really quick, let's go ahead and check out this demo, and then I'm going to go ahead and code this full thing up. So I'm hoping to keep this right around an hour to 2 hours maybe. It depends on how fast I can go with this. It's pretty new to me, so we'll just see how fast I can power through this. So this is the website that I'm going to be building, and that is a live link. So I hope nobody punches that into the URL right now because that will work. But in this application, if I click on join stream, allow my mic and camera, I can now see my face. I'm a little bit zoomed in here, but if I go ahead and send this link to myself on a phone, I can actually join this. So this is what we're going to be putting together. So I just opened it up on my phone. We should see myself join the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and allow, oops, 1 second. Got to mute the mic here. Okay, so both mics are muted. I am now testing this on my phone. So that's the stream right here. And we are eventually not going to deploy this live, but we are just going to put it up on a URL here. We're using ngrok for this. So the second I take this off, nobody's going to be able to actually use this URL. So I'm actually going to close this out right here. I wanted to show you the demo. Once we're done, we're going to actually just put this up on this URL so you can test it, so you can actually follow through the exact steps, and then we'll be done with it. So this is the application. So right now I can join as many users as I want. Ideally, we're actually going to try to limit this to 6. So we're going to have users join on here. We have a mute button. We can also hide our camera, and we can leave the stream. So if I leave it, now in my video, okay, it's not going to show right here, I just realized. So let me move this back. In my video, now you can see that I'm all alone here. So the second this user joins, it's going to go ahead and pop this up, and there we go. So that's the application, and I'm going to leave here. So let me close this out, and we'll get back to it. Okay, so the sound kind of threw me off there. So that's what we're building today. So we're going to be using something called, this is Agora. So this is a platform that I'm using, and instead of just using the WebRTC, okay, sorry, I'm like completely blanking out here. This is first live in a while here. So the WebRTC, that's something that Agora actually built on top of. So instead of just using that, I'm going to be building this out using the Agora platform. So they give us a really cool software development kit that we can work with, and we can actually create an application on Agora's website and then connect to it using our code here and their software development kit. So this is going to be built with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I'm going to connect to their SDK. So we're not using any framework, anything like that, but in the future, I do plan to use React, maybe React Native, and all these other platforms. So my friend Tadas actually got me on this. He introduced me to Agora, and he does a lot of Flutter stuff. So if you want to check that stuff out, go check out his channel, and you'll find a lot of videos on Flutter, but also on Agora too. So he runs their YouTube channel and helps them out. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen, and I want to pull up Agora's website. So we'll just do agora.io, and this is the platform here. So they actually have a lot more than just video streaming services. So if I actually go ahead and register an account, you don't need a credit card or a debit card on file. You actually get a free version to start with. So go ahead and register, and once you're in here, you're going to be able to create an app. So you have to create an app on Agora, and then I'm going to use their documentation to build everything from scratch and connect to this app. So Agora is going to do all the hosting for the actual video streaming. So you can see that I have a few applications here. So Agora is actually going to take care of all the backend stuff when it comes to the stream itself. All we need to do is connect to that. So this is what we're going to be using. So there's a few different ways that we can actually set this up. So once you register on agora.io, you're going to be able to go ahead and create an app. Now, there's something called an app builder that Agora has. So in this case, all you have to do is create an app here. So let's say you go to agora.io, you're going to go to the console here. You're going to see these projects right here. So I'll go to more right now, and you can create a project. So I'll actually start from scratch here. So you can create a project here. Let's go ahead and add in some kind of input. We'll just say live stream demo, or we'll just call that live stream. And we're going to specify a use case. So this is going to be the very first step in building out this application is we're going to Agora and we're going to set up the app here. And Agora gives us about 10,000 free use minutes. So that's actually quite a bit. I've been testing this all weekend and I think I'm only at like 150 use minutes for my app here. So still got a long ways to go. So that's all free with Agora. So I'm going to specify my industry here. And we're going to add in tutoring. So that's just going to be something that we're going to work with. And we are just testing here. So we're going to set that to testing mode. And I'm going to submit that. So we're creating a new app. You can see that I have a lot of apps here. So let's see, there's a live stream app. So we're actually using one of these and I don't want to expose a secret key. So I'm going to keep that hidden. But this is the project that we just created. So it's in the testing stage and we call that live stream. So in here, we have something called an app ID. We also have an app name that we're going to use and then a temporary token that we can use to actually connect to this app. Now, to actually work with this, we can do one of three different things here. So we can use the app builder, which means that we can go ahead and complete our application, use that app builder, and actually see our app within minutes. Agora will deploy that for us to Heroku, and then they're going to have a front end for that. And they already give you a full interface. Now, option number 2 is to not use that app builder. We can use that to set up our project, but you can actually download that code and then start modifying whatever you want. So you can take that code and then customize it. Now, option number 3, which is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to build this out from complete scratch here. So we're actually going to create our own project and then connect to everything. So we're going to go with that option because that's really what we want to learn. I guess there's probably a lot of other videos on how to use that app builder. Now, there's a few things that I want to mention about Agora here. So Agora is not just for video calls. They have voice calls. They have real-time messaging. So something that I actually wanted to build out here was this demo. This is what I was actually going for. This is what I was actually going for when I first started this. And I actually wanted to build like this streaming platform with an area where you can see all the people in that chat application and then maybe have messages. So I didn't quite get to that because I only had a weekend to do this. So I was learning quite a bit. But these are all features that we can add in here. So there's real-time messaging. We can actually record our sessions. You can go into building out classrooms. So there's a whole bunch of different applications that I'll probably get into at some point. So it's more than just a call or a video streaming application or SDK. So I just wanted to mention that before we get here or before we get to that point. And let's go ahead and continue on with this project here. So if you go back to the console, I want to recap here. We'll go into our projects and we'll go to more. So in this section here is our live stream right here. And this is what we're about to use here. So in my desktop, I'm actually going to open up a folder and I'm going to start from scratch here. So I have a demo here that I've been testing with, and I'm going to create a completely new project at this point. So we're just going to call this chat app. So it's a completely new folder, and I'm just going to use VS Code to open this up here. And we're just going to start setting this up and then we'll connect to that. So let me go ahead and open up a new project. We'll create a new window and I'll be watching the chat as I'm coding. I won't get too involved because I'm trying to post this after potentially, unless we have some kind of main or a major hiccup in the stream, but I'll try to post it after. So I'll try not to go off script here, I guess. So I just CD'd into this folder here. I just opened this up in VS Code. So the first thing I'm going to do is create an HTML file. So we're just going to call this index.html. So it's going to be one page, and in this page, you're going to be able to join a room and then see the room with all the, I guess, the users' cameras. So we're going to start this out. I'm going to go ahead and create my HTML boilerplate. We'll get this set up right here. Most text editors will get that going for you, and we're just going to call this chat app in the title. We're going to do a little bit of configuration and then we'll start building things in. So we want a CSS file and a JavaScript file. Now we're going to connect to Agora through this right here. So we're just going to go ahead and create a new file and call this main.js. So this is our JavaScript file and that's already connected. So that boilerplate code gave me this. If you don't have it, just go ahead and put this in the head tags here, add that in. And then I also want to add in a main.css. So main.css. I realized I'm a little bit rusty since I haven't streamed for a while. I started just talking really fast and kind of messed myself up there. Okay, so we have our boilerplate project right now. And the first thing I want to do is actually connect to that Agora SDK or the API. Now, in Agora's website, they actually have some documentation. So there's no framework. I see somebody's asking for a framework. Absolutely no framework, just JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and we're going to connect to this. At some point, I will build out a backend in different applications. So in the Agora website, if you go to the documentation here, so I'm a little bit zoomed in, but I'm going to go back to the console. We're going to the documentation, or let's actually go to API reference. And in here, we are building out a web-based application. So we're going into video call. And at this point, we are using Agora 3.0, and they just came out with 4.0, but that's still in the early stages. Tadas just told me about this. So while they're working on that and perfecting things, I'm going to stick to what I know is safe. So right now, 3.0 is good. And I will update something in the future if this continues and goes well here. So we're going to start with 3.0 here, or 3.62. And in here, we're going to see some demo applications here. So trying to remember where everything was. So I see code samples here. So here we have our code samples, and we have web examples, there's Flutter examples, all these different ways to connect to their API here. So we're going into the web examples. So we're building out a web app. Now in here, they have a lot of demos here. So if I go to this demo link, this is their GitHub repo. We can see different types of demos. So here is a demo for a basic live application. Here is one for audio mixing and effects. So basically an application that does that. There's all these different features that they have that they've already built out for you. So what I did this weekend is spent time looking at their demo and their APIs here. So if I go to like a basic live here, I actually couldn't find their CDN link to actually connect to that API. So what I did is I actually found that from this GitHub repo. So I actually do have a link in the video description for the project we're about to build out. So if you want to use that or find all the source code and the links, you can go ahead and just check that one out too. So in this project right here, they have their CDN link right here. So that script link right here, we're just going to copy this, and this is going to give us access to Agora's API. So there's different ways of doing it depending on whether you're using React or any other system. But right now, we're just going to use this. I'm trying to keep things as plain as possible. So let's go ahead and take that link. So I just copied that link, and that's also again in the source code. And let's just put this right here in the body tag. So I want to add that in right here, and then I'm going to take this script link right here, or script tag, and I'm going to put that below right here underneath this Agora CDN link right here. So I want to make sure it's underneath it so we can actually start accessing things here. Okay, so we have a basic application. So inside of main.js, I'm going to create some configuration to that Agora app here. So give me a second here. I'm going to make sure things are prepped. Just need to open up the right file. And the first thing I want to do, so after looking in the Agora docs here, I noticed a few things in how I should configure things. So if I go back to this link right here in the, oh, that's the voice call. So I need to go to video call. So in here, I was looking through the documentation, and here is the Agora RTC here. So there is something called a client object that we need to work with. There's a lot of different ways to create the streams and so on. So following this documentation, I'd recommend you look at it. This is what I'm going to be working off of and why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. So I'm following all of this. So the first thing that the documentation told me was to create a client object. So in my code here, I'm just going to go ahead and set a variable, and this will be the client object. It's kind of like the entire core functionality to all the streams and all the users that are going to join this application. So we're going to go ahead and use the Agora RTC. So Agora RTC, and then we're going to do .create client. So that's in the documentation right here. So that's what I just followed. So that's the Agora client. I have quite a bit of links here. So create client right here. So we just created that. So we're going to throw that in, and we need to add in some configuration. So the first thing is we need to add in the mode we're going to use. So the mode here is going to be RTC, and the other mode is, I believe, live. So RTC is going to give us a way to actually communicate with each other, whereas live is kind of like this YouTube live stream where I'm just going to be presenting it. So we're going to specify RTC here, and then we're going to specify the codec. And this is simply the algorithm used to actually encrypt the videos here. So we're going to put this to VP8, and that's all in the documentation. So we create a client object, and this is inside of our JavaScript file. So we create the client object, and then what we need to do is create some configs here. So we're going to create a configuration object. So it's just going to be a JavaScript object, and I'm going to call this config. So we can call this one whatever we actually want. In this case, I'm going to call it config. And there's a few things that we need to connect to our app here. So this is that Agora app that we created. So the first thing we need is an app ID. And at this point, I'm going to set this to null. Now, the next thing we are going to need is a token, and this is what I need to actually keep private here. So I want to make sure that nobody sees this. We're going to create that token, and then we also need a UID for the user. Now, if we don't actually present a UID for our user, Agora will create one for us. So we're actually not going to make one. If Agora sees that it's null, it's just going to go ahead and generate something for us. So the last thing we need is a channel here. So we're also going to set this to null, and we're going to leave it like that. So what I'm doing here is I'm connecting to this Agora app here. So let me close out some of these examples here in the documentation. And let's go back here. So what I'm going to do is actually show you where to get this information, and then I'm going to close it out so you guys can't use my my token here and use up all my minutes or do something malicious here and join my stream. So in here, we see that live stream project that I just created. So what I can do is actually see the app ID right here. If I click on that, it's going to copy it, or I can go to action right here. So if I go to action, I can see the project name. I can see the app ID. So if I click on that, I'm just going to go ahead and take this app ID. So we're going to paste this in right here. And ideally, you would actually have this added in a form, or maybe you had a website where you were listing out multiple streams. So you would actually have the app ID in the URL or something like that. In this case, I'm going to put it in directly right here because we're just trying to display the stream and access this really quickly. Okay, so once we have that, we also need to get our token. And for some reason, it looks like my app is actually disabled here. So, okay, 1 second. This is the issue with live streams. I don't realize, or I don't remember what I did here. Okay, so for some reason the app is not allowed to be used here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to continue on with this test project right here. So we're not going to be using the live stream app. We're going to use this one. So I didn't activate it. Let me actually try to figure this out right now because I do want to make sure that we are working with an activated project so you see what we can do here. Okay, so we have our use case. We have the app ID. Let's try to, let's see, apply to enable. Not sure what I did here. If Tadas, if you're in the video or if you're in the stream, you can jump in because I know you know Agora. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and take another app ID. I just want to show you where to get it. I'll try to circle back to this and maybe find that token. So here's another app here. In this case, it's called Test Project, and this is a disabled app. So let me go to this one. Okay, I think what's happening is maybe because I'm streaming it, it's not allowing me to see that token. Give me 1 second to try to figure this out. This is really fun during a live stream. It's not, basically what's happening here is it's not letting me generate a temporary token. Okay, so I'm going to do this. So my token's actually hidden. So I'm going to click on this project here. So we're going to open this one up. And in this section right here, you're going to see the app ID. So that's what we just pasted in. And you're going to add in a channel name. So let's say we're going to call this stream. We're just going to call this a live stream. Let's just do that. So go ahead, call it that, and then click on generate token, and that will give you a temporary token that will last about a day and a half. So go ahead and generate that token, copy that, and bring that in here. So the channel name is going to be what we just created, and I'm going to call that live stream. And in my case, I'm actually connecting to a channel called Dennis2. So that's the channel name. So whatever you called your channel, go ahead and add that in. And then the token, go ahead and take this temporary token that you generated and paste that in here. So what I'm going to do is actually create that token, and then I'm going to hide it so nobody can actually use this. So I'm going to give myself a second here to try to hide this, and hopefully I don't reveal this. So this is the issue again with the actual live link. So I'm going to try to keep that hidden, make sure nobody accesses this, and then we'll continue. So I'm going to go ahead and add all my configurations. Okay, so that config object should now be hidden. Okay, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to reveal it, and then hopefully no one actually steals it from me. So I guess part of it's hidden. Okay, so we have our client object, and we have the configuration. So this is how we connect to that to that app here. So this actually allows us to connect to that, and we can continue on from here. So once we create that configuration, what we need to do is we need to create our tracks here. So our tracks are going to be like, think of an audio track or a video track. So these are going to be the actual video streams that we're going to basically use to turn on our camera, store the track there, and then present it to the user. So we're going to go ahead and call this local tracks here. And this is just going to be an object here. So we're going to have two types of tracks, and this is going to be for our local user. So this is the user that opens up their website. This is going to be their camera and audio. So we're just going to go ahead and take audio, and then we're going to do tracks. And if this stream doesn't work well, what I'm going to do is just re-record this, and then we'll actually have a good version of this. So we'll throw in null here because we don't have it yet at this point. A user hasn't done anything. And then we're just going to do video tracks. Okay, so we're going to set that to null also, so a user hasn't configured anything. And then what we're going to do is we want to set some remote tracks. So we're just going to do remote tracks, and this is going to be an object right here. So it's going to be empty at this point, and remote tracks are going to be other users that are on the same application. So anybody else that joins a stream, what's going to happen is our application here, when someone else joins a stream, let's say that we're sharing a stream in a room, somebody else joins, we need to subscribe to their audio and camera, and we're going to store that in here. So we're going to put in all their tracks, so all the remote tracks in here, and then also display that on our website. Okay, so yeah, somebody's saying put that in env. I guess I could have done that, but we're past that point. So we set up our configuration, we set up our client, our local tracks, and our remote tracks. So let's go ahead and go into our HTML file now, and I want to make sure we have some setup here. So I want to build out a few things here. So inside of our HTML file, in the body, I'm going to go ahead and use a main tag. And what I'm going to do here is first add in a join button. So we're just going to add in a button. And this is just going to say join. And we're going to give this an ID of join BTN. So we want to be able to access this with some JavaScript event handlers, and then eventually allow a user to join a stream. So we'll just call this join-BTN. Okay, so after our join button, what I'm going to do here is still in the main tag. I want to go ahead and add in an area for our users' streams. So we're going to create a div, and this is what's going to store all the videos that users display on our stream here. So we're just going to do ID, and then we're going to call this user-streams. Okay, so we have our user streams now, or that's where they're going to be displayed. And then underneath here, I'm going to add in a few more buttons. So we're going to add in a button to hide our video. So we'll just do camera, and then we'll just do camera BTN. And at this point, we'll just say camera. So just like in the demo, we need to, so can't spell camera there. We need to be able to hide our camera and then hide or mute our audio. So we'll just say mute like that. And then this will be audio. Okay, so audio wow, I can't spell. I'm totally shaken today, I guess. Okay, so this is going to be mic button. So we'll just do mic BTN, and then this is going to be leave. So we have 3 buttons here, and we'll just do leave BTN. Okay, so we hold all our user streams. We have our join button and our 3 buttons. So what I'm going to do is actually open up my HTML file, and I actually have a live server, so I can open this up right here, and this is going to open this up on port 5000 or 5500. Let me move down my mic. And this is all we have at this point. So we have our join button, our camera, mute, and leave. And then later on, we're actually going to use icons for this. So once we have these, we want to be able to activate our camera right now. And I hope I don't have any issues with this and the stream. I hope it doesn't maybe mess this up somehow here. So I'm going to go ahead and work on turning on my camera. So let's go back in here, and we're going back into the JavaScript file. So we set up our basic HTML, and now in the JavaScript, what I want to do is go ahead and create a method and then trigger this on that join button click. So we'll just go ahead and use a query selector. We'll just do document.getElementById, and we're going to call this one, or we're going to get the join button. So we're getting that join button, get element. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're not using let. So we're getting that button, and we're going to go ahead and add event listener. and we're going to listen for the click event. So when a user clicks on this, we're going to use an arrow function, and we want to trigger this function right here. Okay, so on click, what do we want to do? So we'll just say console.log, and we're going to say the user wants to join. So we'll say user joined stream. Okay, so we just added an event handler. So we'll just make sure that's all connected here. So if I click join, it says user joined stream, and that looks good. Okay, so that event handler is working. So what we're going to do here is we want to trigger something on this event. So when that user clicks that button, we want to go ahead and fire off an event, and this is going to be called join stream. So we're going to create an arrow function, join streams. And we're going to use async await here. So we need to wait for some network calls here. So we're going to make this an async function. So we're creating an arrow function. We're going to make that async. And we're going to go ahead and trigger a few things here. Okay, so in this function, inside of join streams, what we want to do here is first connect the user to the stream here. So when the user connects, so I was studying this just this weekend, so I guess I need to slow down a little bit because I actually don't know it that well. I just knew how to make it work and understand the docs here. So give me a second. I just need to calm myself down. Okay, so we have the async function, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect our audio tracks here. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and get our config UID. So UID right here, this is what we set up at this point. So the user's UID, and at this point it's null. So we're getting that UID. Then we're just going to go ahead and get the local tracks. So we set up the local tracks, and we want the audio tracks. So we're getting the audio tracks, and then we're getting the video tracks. So we're going to make a call, and this is going to be the return value. So what we're going to use is await and then promise.all. So we're doing promise.all, and in promise.all, this is going to be an array right here, and we want to call a few things here. So we're going to our client object right here. So we're going to use this. We're going to call our client, and we're just going to do client.join. So that's the method that allows our user to join a stream. So we're sending our call up to that application, and we want to join it. So we're just going to do config. So we're going into config.appid. Then we're going to go ahead and pass in our channel. So config.channel. And then we're going into config.token. So it's sending this up to our API, and this is how it knows what to connect with. So I see some support. I know. I'm like, I guess the weird thing is, so I'm actually working with, Tadas reached out to me, and Agora asked me to maybe try to do a few things with them. They wanted to interview me for a few things, and I try to get this done quick, and maybe the fact that I know that they'll watch this is throwing me off a little bit, so I don't know. That could also be it. So we're going to use the Agora RTC now. So promise.all, we're passing in a list right here, and we're going to give this all back to this list right here. So after that, we're going to add in the comma, and we're just going to do Agora RTC, and then we're doing create microphone, and then audio track. Okay, so these are all methods in that API. So this is what we're following. So Agora RTC create microphone audio track. This is going to actually prompt the user to basically request the user to actually allow it to listen to their stream here. So once we create that, we're also going to do Agora RTC, and we're just going to do create camera track. So create camera video track. Okay, so we're connecting the mic and the camera, and that's all going to return back to these, and it's going to pre-fill, or it's going to fill up the not the config here, but the local track. So it's going to add in an audio track and a video track to this. So that's what we're setting up. We're getting that response, and we're going to add these to the local tracks. Once we get that, we need to actually create a video player to throw into the browser here. So at this point, we're going to create a player, and we'll just call this video player. And this is going to be an HTML element that we actually want to append to the DOM. So we want to put this inside of user streams right here. So we're going to create that video player. We're going to use backticks here, so the template literals. So we're going to create a div. Close that off right here. And let's create some space here. So this div is going to have a class here. There's a few classes that I want to give it. So I'm going to give this a class of video containers. So I'm going to style this later. I want to use the same ones that I used before. So video containers, and then we'll set the ID, and this is going to be video dash wrapper, and we need a specific ID for every single video stream out there. So when a user leaves or mutes their mic or mutes their video or turns off their camera, we need to know which user or which stream to activate here or to modify. So we're going to go ahead and, oops, 1 second. Okay, so for this video wrapper, that's going to be an ID because it needs to be completely unique. We're going to go ahead and pass in video-wrapper, and we're going to throw in the dollar symbol because we're using template literals, and we can pass in a variable, and this will be config.uid. Okay, so we have a unique value on this. Now, the next thing I want to do in this div is create some space here, and I'm just going to go ahead and add in a paragraph tag, and this is going to be the user's stream ID. So if we don't add an ID, Agora will actually create an ID for that user. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a class here, and I'm going to call this user ID or user-UID. So we're creating a UID for the user, and in here we're just going to throw in the actual config UID. So we'll do config, that's the config object that we created, and we're passing in the ID. So right now it's null, but Agora will actually generate one for us. Okay, so we have that ID, and then in here we want to create another div, and this will be the actual video stream. So this is what we're going to add our camera to. This is what's actually going to present what we have in our on our screen, I guess, or in the camera. Okay, so in this case, we have to give this a class, and this will be video-player. So we'll throw that in like that. And for the video player, I'm also going to give this a class of player. And after that, I also want to give it a unique name. So we'll give this an ID, and this is going to be stream. So we want to know whose stream we're actually working with, and we're going to pass in the user's name or ID here, so UID. So this is our stream. So we passed in the ID, and this is what the video will actually get appended to. So we're creating the object. So we're connecting to that app. We're creating the object here, and the next thing we want to do is actually connect this app to the DOM here. So we're going to do document.getElementById. So we're going to go ahead and get user-streams. So user streams right here, we just created this div. It has the ID of user streams. We're connecting to that, and we're just going to do .insert adjacent element. And I try to use inner.html or inner HTML, and that actually gave me some issues based on how Agora was calling this. So I don't know the exact way to fix that. So we're just going to do insert adjacent element. Now we're going to do before end. So we're saying that we want to insert this element at the end of this div right here. So if there's other items in user streams, insert it in here, but insert it at the bottom. So we're doing before end, and we're going to go ahead and insert our video player. So we created this element. I'm a little bit zoomed in here, so I'm trying to show you everything. We created this video player, this HTML element, and then we're appending this to the DOM. Now the next thing we want to do is actually go ahead and play our video stream. So we're going to do local tracks. So remember, on this call, we made the call. Now local tracks actually has that video stream, and this has to be video tracks like that. So local tracks, video tracks, local tracks, audio tracks. And what we want to do is get local tracks.video tracks, and we want to actually play the video. So we want to turn this on. So we're going to do play, and then we'll just go ahead and play this inside of our element. So it's telling us, where do you want to add this video to? So we're just going to go ahead and go into stream, and that is this value right here. So we're getting this ID, that's this div right here. We're taking that element, and we're going to pass in config UID. So we're passing this in config.uid, and there we go. So that's how it knows which video track to actually append this to. So we call this, and then we want to publish this so any other user that's on this stream can actually see our video. So once we append it into our DOM here inside of our browser, we want to actually append this to, or let every user know about this. So we're just going to do await. So we made this an async function right here, so we can actually call await right here. And we're just going to do client. This is that client object we created, and we can call publish here. So client publish. And this is going to be an array right here, and we're going to publish our video and our audio tracks. So we're just going to go into local tracks dot video tracks or audio tracks. I'll do that first. So local tracks dot audio tracks, and then we'll do local tracks dot video tracks. Okay, so we're going to publish that, And that's it for this function at the moment here. So we set our stream, we created the object, we appended the object, we played it, or played the video, and then we're gonna publish that for everyone to see. So all I have to do is take local streams right here, and I'm actually gonna make this an async function right here, just in case. And I'm just gonna do a wait, and then we're gonna call join streams. So let's see if I messed anything up here. Had a rough beginning, so let's try this out. And let's go ahead and open up our browser. Let's try to refresh this, and let's hit join. So it looks like something started. We see that red dot playing right there. Let's see what's going on. Let's go into the console here. So fail to insert adjacent element. Looks like something went wrong at this point. Let's see, insert adjacent HTML. Let's do HTML. Okay, so it looks like that was the issue. And let's try this again. So if I hit join, no issues, but we're not seeing the video, and I know exactly why. Okay, so at this point, you see that it just generated a user ID right here. So if I try to open this up again, let's close out the demo app. If I open this up right here, and if I hit join, you're gonna notice a different ID get generated. This is because we didn't provide one, and Agora just created one. So we see both of our IDs, but the video is not playing. And the reason why the video is not playing is because I have not set a height and width to the actual stream. So what I'm gonna do is take this video player class, and I'm gonna go into our CSS file, and we're just gonna do video-player. And we're gonna set a height, and let's see, I'll just set this to 400 pixels at the moment, so 400 px, and then we're gonna set a width to 600 pixels. Okay, so let's try this out. So now that I set that, here we go. So I see that. I'm gonna make this full screen right here, now that you can actually see my face twice. And there we go. So if I open this up again, let's try this one more time. Let's take this URL, go into the browser, we'll paste that. We're gonna hit join stream, and there we go. So that's the first part of what we're doing here. So what we're gonna do after this is we actually want to be able to see other user streams. So you notice that I have two browsers open, and just like the demo, or just like in the demo where we had multiple screens adjust here, where my screen would get smaller and then we would see another window, we wanna make sure that that actually works here too. So we need to actually apply remote user streams. So right now, this user is local, but this user is a remote streamer compared to this user. So we got the first part done. So I'll, yeah, well, I see people in the chat. I'm glad everyone's making it to the stream. I'm definitely gonna have to remake this. I probably will not post this after because of the rough start. So we got the video on screen, and now let's work on the user's remote stream. So I wanna make sure that all users can be seen right here. So let's go ahead and go to the next step. And I actually might test this out with you all. So if you guys have a phone, I'm gonna post that link. We'll see how many people join before we crash it, and then I'll just break that URL. So I wanna actually test this with you in the next step here once I get that configured. So we have the local stream, and now we want to actually create a remote user. So that's me stalling. When I start talking like that, that means I'm thinking and I'm trying to prep the next step. Okay, so we're gonna create another function. So we have our join streams function, and we're gonna create another one below it. So we're just gonna go ahead and set let, and I'm gonna call this handle user joined. So this is gonna handle anytime a user joins. So we're gonna do handle user joined, and this is gonna be a async function. So we're calling an async function, and this function is gonna take in the user and the media type. And the media types are gonna be the sound and the video. So media type, we're setting that, and we're gonna finish up the arrow function. So before we do anything here, let's actually console something else. So we'll just do console.log, and we're gonna say user has joined our stream. Okay, so what this function is going to do is it's actually going to create a listener that's going to fire this function off here. So, or not the function, but we're going to fire off this function here once that actually starts here. So in our join streams, when the user is currently joining that stream, we're going to set client .on. So client.on is an event handler. So we can listen for multiple events. There's join events, there's leave events. This means like the user just joined a stream or they left it, or any other thing like they muted their mic, whatever's happening. These are going to be the events that we're going to fire off. And the built-in event that Agora has is user dash publish. So we actually want to listen for this event first. And there's going to be another one that we're going to use. So whenever a user is published, that means that if we're on a stream and another user joins the same channel based on the channel name, the token, and the app ID, when another user joins, we're going to fire off this function. And this is how we know when a user joins to add in their stream, because we're not refreshing our page every time. We just need to listen for these events. So it happens asynchronously and it's always listening for it. So this is what's going to allow it to happen, or what's going to allow it to actually work. So we're listening for the user published event. And what function do we want to call at this point? Well, we're going to call the handle user join function. So we're going to throw that in right here. So handle user joined, I'm going to put ED right there, so joined. So when a user joins, we're calling this event handler, we're going to trigger this function right here. So let's try this. So if I go in here and if I open up my console, let's go ahead and actually have another user join right now. So I'm going to open this up in another browser. We're going to take this URL and I'm going to join the stream. So cannot set null, properties undefined, 1 second, join streams main 27. Let's find this issue. Okay, so it looks like I messed something up right here. Give me a second to figure this out. So config UID, local tracks, audio tracks, local tracks, video tracks. We do await promise.all, client.join, pass in the app ID, the channel. Did I call it that? Yep. Okay, so we throw in the channel. And then we pass in the token. Okay, so let's actually throw in the user ID here. So I just realized we should throw that in too. So I think that's what's giving us the issue. So we need to go into config, and then we just need to do UID. So if we don't have a UID, it's going to be null, but I think we at least have to pass in that value. So let's try that one more time, and let's see if we still get that issue. So it was the user's ID, or the UID. And let's give that a test again. And I'm so zoomed in that my console looks so weird here. So let's try this. I'll zoom out a little bit. Hopefully you can see that in the stream. And I'll bring my face into the stream. In the chat, let me know, should I have my face in here or should I just go into the stream or into the screen sharing? Okay. In promise, cannot set property undefined of null. This is what I was worried about. Didn't give myself enough time to learn the documentation here, so we're just gonna have fun and try to debug this. Okay, so we're passing anything in. Maybe I need to do the or and then just set null. So if we don't have a stream, we're gonna throw that in. Okay. Client on user published, that we call user joined. Can't figure out what I'm missing here. We have our video player. It looks like everything's good in here. Yeah, so Agora does actually have a screen sharing option. So I'll come out with a series of tutorials once I really learn this thing. I'll come out with a series on things like the chat, the screen sharing, recording, and so on. This is all already built in here. So let's see. Someone's saying that you can get the token via the client. Well, I'm not actually going to be using the token like this. This is for testing purposes. I'm not sure what you're referring to. As long as you can't see the full thing right now, I'm just going to delete it. It's a temporary token anyways. I see Crispy in the chat is saying that. Okay, so we set the player. We add the player. Before end. That looks good. So we are publishing the stream. So client.publish. So this is what's throwing me off, is why it won't publish that. So we call the method right here. Okay, I'll remove my face. Looks like people are okay with me not showing my face. I just figured it's more, I guess while I'm debugging, I'll show it. And then when I'm just coding, I'll try to just show the screen. So at join streams line 27, this is what's throwing me off right here. It seems like the promise is not responding correctly. And I actually remember seeing this when I was working on this weekend. When I was working on it this weekend, I ran into the same thing. Or I guess it is still the weekend for me. It's still Sunday night here, but I was running into the same thing and I solved it, but I couldn't remember exactly what I did to fix it. Okay. Just need to think. Is it an async function? Did I do that? Yeah, I made it an async function. Let's try this. Let me, it's weird because it happens right when I call client published right here. I think that's what was causing it the first time. So if I actually open up the console here, so if I hit join, it works just fine. So it's when I call client.publish. So let's try this. Let's actually, I think it might be because the user's information is not fully there. Maybe once I fill out all this information, maybe client.publish will work after that. So let's try this. Let me move client on user published at the end of the function, and let's see if that still continues. So if I hit join, it works. Does it give me an issue? No. So it might have something to do with the fact that the user object is not, or the remote users aren't published yet, so it doesn't know what to do with it and causes that error. So we'll just continue from here. Okay, cool. So let's go back to our remote user and continue on with this method. So in the remote user, we're going down here. So handle user join. So a user has joined stream. Okay, so actually let's try this out. I forgot what I was trying to show you. So if I go into the console here, and if I go ahead and grab this URL and join again, let's open up the console. If I join again, we'll do join. We see this get consoled out. User has joined stream. So I'm going to do that one more time. Let's actually just go ahead and refresh that, hit join. And as this video appears right here, it says user has joined stream. So you notice how this browser right here is actually firing this off. So it means that it listened for it and it actually is aware of the other user. So I hope that makes sense. So anytime another user remotely, when I push this link live and give this to you all, you'll see how that method is going to fire off, and this user right here will actually know about it. So that way we can add their stream. So now that we know about it, that means the event handler is working. So this event handler right here gets fired off and it calls handle user joined, and we consoled that out. So we never had to refresh the page. It just kind of happened automatically for us. Okay, so now we can continue from there. So what we want to do here is we set our remote tracks right here. So we have remote tracks, and these are all the remote users. So the first thing I want to do is actually add the user to that. So we're just going to do remote tracks, and we're going into that object, and we're going to set the key here. So this is a key value pair. We're just going to do user.uid. So the remote user will have a user generated. Okay, so we're setting that user UID, and this is going to be to the user. So this means that whenever a user joins, we're going to set that key to their UID, and then we're going to set their local tracks and audio tracks. So these two values of a remote user will actually be stored in here along with other information. So now we know about the other user. Now, after that, we want to call the subscribe method. So we'll just do subscribe, and subscribe, what this is going to do is it's actually going to subscribe a user to our stream. So now it's part of that list of, I guess, streams or tracks that are inside of this channel here. So we're calling subscribe here, and we're going to pass the user, and we're going to pass in their media type. So we're subscribing our video and our media type. So the remote user is now doing this. So they're basically, or whenever this gets called right here, this is what's actually happening on the remote side right here. So we're subscribing a remote user to our stream, and someone's saying you forgot R in line 49. Let's see. Handle user joined. I'm not seeing the issue. Oh, user right here. Okay, there we go. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Oh, that's going to help out a lot in the short term here, or I guess in the future. So we're subscribing our user. We're making this an async function. We're calling await right here. This is making sure that a user is joining it. And once we set this up, we can actually use this same method. See this video player right here? We can actually get this value right here and paste this down here. So we're also going to create a video player for the remote user. Now in the remote user, we're creating this value, and instead of config, we're getting the user value. So we're going to change config to user, and we're going to change this UID to user, and then user right here. Okay, so we're setting the user values, we're prepping everything, and then we're going to continue on doing the same thing that we did right here. So after that, we want to go ahead and get document.getElement by ID. We're getting the user streams, and we're going to insert the video player right here for the remote user. And I'll just recap what's happening here in a second. So we're taking that remote user and we're going to append this user to the DOM, and then we want to play their video track. So right here where we called local tracks.video tracks play, and then we added this to this section in that div. Well, we want to take this value right here, and we're going to do the same thing, except for local tracks here, we're going to do user tracks. So we're taking this value, this video, and then we're going to play that, and that should turn on the user's stream right here. So what I'm going to do here is actually create a condition really quick. So we're just going to do if, and we want to change this for the video and audio. So we're just going to do video, create the condition, and we're going to take this right here. So these three key parts right here, and we're just going to paste that in right here. Okay, so I'm going to just fix this indentation, and all we did was copy and paste that. So nothing new. We just created the div, appended that to the DOM, and then played the user's track here. So the next thing I want to do is get the user's audio. So this is still inside of the handle user joined value. So I want to create another condition, and we're going to say if media type is equal to audio. So we'll do triple equals to right here, and we'll just do audio. If this is the case, then what we're going to do is go ahead and just do user.audiotracks.play. So we're just calling the play method. So did I play the user's tracks? Okay, yeah, I did that right here. So I just play the user's tracks, and I want to bring that in right here, make sure the indentation's good. So we're playing their video and audio. So let's try that here. So I hope it doesn't interfere with the sound. If it does, let me know. My screen share should not pick up that sound, but we'll have to just give that a try. So let's go ahead and join. Then as a remote user, let's go ahead and join again. So we'll hit join, and we should see two video tracks here. Let's see what's going on here. I want to set the height and width here because that's a little bit too big, so it's going to make this a little bit harder. Let's just go ahead and see, maybe in video player I can set that. Let's try to set this maybe to the parent of that. Height and width. Let's just try to make this smaller. I don't know. We'll just do 100 and 200. We'll make their streams small. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. That's probably because I'm so zoomed in. Yeah, that's why it's happening. Okay, so try this again. We'll join. Then the remote user will join. Still not working for some reason. Let's try this, see what's going on. Okay, it's not throwing any issues. Let's try to actually take this value right here, or this function, and let's try to, or not the function, but the event handler, because I think everything in the function is good, unless I'm missing something. Oh, I think I see what's going on. So we did config UID down here in user join. So I didn't update all the values. This needs to be user.id. Let's make sure we don't have config anywhere else here. So we got the wrong user. Okay, now this should work. So we'll join. And then if I go here, join. Oh, I should probably refresh that. Damn, what the hell's going on here? All right. Let's see if that gives us an issue when I call this method right here, up here in the beginning. Well, this is no fun. Still that promise. I don't know what the heck's going on here. So it looks like it's being called in the event listener for the join button. but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so it's on line 27. It's still this area. So local tracks, video tracks, local tracks, audio. Sorry about these issues. Someone said this reminds me of the episode in Silicon Valley when they try to make the video compressor. Yeah, it's just fun doing it live because I can't think straight when I'm debugging something. It just changes everything. Okay, so create microphone audio track. So I'm doing everything right here. I can tell that, and I can't pin this down. Yeah, if I continue on at this rate, it's going to go for like 2 hours. So I'm definitely going to cut this after or just redo it in a full tutorial. Okay, the user, this is where like you have to just kind of debug and see what your eyes are missing. So we have the config user IDs. We're doing local tracks, audio tracks. That's correct. Okay, so that's right here. Then we have local tracks, video tracks. I'm passing all this, or not passing this in. I'm returning this from the promise. And the issue is saying that promise is returning null. So cannot set property of undefined, setting null in main 27. Okay. It's in this line somewhere. Okay, I'm wondering if it's, no, that wouldn't make sense. Client.join config app ID config. It's clearly when the user stream is here. So if I move this down, the issue goes away. But the problem is that I believe this needs to be called before so I can actually publish the user's track. So maybe if I can try to find something in here that is not working, maybe I can actually fix it that way. So we're getting the wrapper. When a user subscribes, it calls the handle user joined function, pass in the media type, set the user ID. Did I call this remote tracks here? Yeah, so remote tracks, that looks correct. Someone's saying we might have to put let or const here. I don't see where that would be an issue though. Okay, I'm just gonna, yeah, if I get quiet, I know it's gonna bore the stream a little bit, but in front of the array 90, okay, in front of the array. So this part right here, no, that shouldn't be the case. That's not how I did it before. That's what's throwing me off. Oops, what did I do? Oh, I see. Okay, so const, and then that's the return value. That couldn't be the case. No, because I'm returning so I'm basically destructuring the array here. Config token null. Let's try this. That could be it. Okay, it looks like that did fix it. Wow. I actually think that's what happened before. Do you know JS? No, apparently not. Okay, subscribe is not defined. I called the subscribe method earlier. Let's see, what am I calling that off of? Where am I getting that value? So I set await. I believe I'm supposed to set Agora RTC.subscribe. Oh, client.subscribe. Okay, here we go. Dang it. Yeah. It's just not that fresh in my head. Let's try this one more time. Join. And then we'll have the other user join. Still not showing, but we're getting closer. Okay, so we know it's calling this function. I don't see any errors. And we know that a user or a client is subscribing. Oh, here, I think actually something worked here. So if I go here, I should see, okay, uncaught promise, undefined, ready, main 66. Okay. Where am I calling this user from? Okay, if media type is equal to audio, user.audio tracks, and then we play that, so we trigger that. I see somebody saying, I wish I knew Agora. I'd be all over this. It's pretty quick to learn. I mean, I'm trying to teach that. I'm definitely going to have to make up for this video because I'm bombing it, but I'll make this a lot easier where you can have this thing set up in about 40 minutes. It's extremely easy to learn, actually, at least to get set up. If media type, for some reason, this method here, let's mute the audio. Let's try this. Won't do anything at this point. I'm like in a spiral right now. Okay. Cannot read properties of undefined readying play. Handle user joined. For some reason, the user.play method is actually not working. User.video track. What am I missing here? So we have the video player. We pass the player in right here. We have the user object. Okay, so now that I fixed the subscribe issue, maybe that'll fix it right here too, so I can bring this up. I'm not sure if that actually has an effect on it. Yeah, it's still giving me that issue. That's... Ah, damn it. All right. I need some coffee. I was worried about this one issue because I spent about 2 hours on this on Saturday trying to fix the same thing. And what I normally do is I write down what issue I had and what I did to fix it. And this time I did not write that down, and I'm kicking myself for it. It was weird because it wasn't in this method. It was like something that affects this method. Here, let's just try this. Let's we have to console out config. Okay, so we have config token. We do or null, so we pass that in. I'm like so irritated with myself with this. Okay, insert adjacent element or HTML. Did I call the same method? Yeah, we did insert adjacent HTML. Client.publish, local tracks, video tracks. Okay, am I calling these? Okay, I'm calling them tracks, so that's not the issue. The play method looks good. I need to at least be entertaining while I'm doing this. So isn't the promise? Okay, let me try to just think about this right now. So promise is missing const. It's funny because you're saying that and I'm completely blanking out. I can't figure out. I thought that's what I thought I did. I just. It seems like it's causing other issues here. So we do. Promise.alt. Am I doing something wrong here? Because I'm blanking out right now, and Okay, illegal decoration. Yeah, that's I know that that looks wrong. I guess we'll just see how long I can go until I either give up or find it. And it won't be about the stream anymore. It'll be just about solving this live. Video tracks, audio tracks. Wait. Completely blinking out here. Okay, I'm going to try something really quick. Here, let me just try to rename these. Or actually, no, that's not going to be an issue, and I'm going to cause more problems with that. Cannot set properties of undefined setting. It's the way the promise is returning it. Okay, let me try to read this really quick. Okay, so client, okay, user dash left handle user. Is that what it is? Is it because I don't have another method in there? Okay, let's try this. Just make this an async function just in case. So I didn't use user left, I believe. Oh, I did use user left. Okay, so let's just let's grab this, and we'll just do client dot on user dash left. We'll throw in the function. I see a question about what's the difference between stream and publish, and I'll get to that in a bit. So based on what I understand of it. No, that's not it. Okay. Yeah, I cannot for the life of me figure this out. Okay, you know what? No, that wouldn't be the case. I'm going to generate a new token, and I'm going to hide this. So I'm going to move it out of frame because I had this issue when the token expiration occurred too. And I'm going to be so mad if it's token expiration because I should have checked that. Okay, I just passed in a new token. And let me give this a test. And it shouldn't be the case though because it's on the subscription, or it's when another user subscribes to the stream. So we have handle user left. We called that. We added the event handler right here on user left. You guys are awesome with the support, man. I'm completely bombing today. This is by far the worst stumble I've had on a stream because my brain is not functioning. I'm clueless with this because I'm trying to figure out multiple things here, and I can't figure out why the promise is returning it, because I know, I mean, it might not be in the promise itself. Here's the thing, because a user is subscribing to the stream from this call right here. So we're doing client.join. So a remote, our stream will join. So let's try this. If we go to a stream right now, if I go right here and I hit join. Okay, so here, let me try to do this real quick. Let's just undo these event handlers. It's definitely in the event handler, something about this, because a user will join if I hit join right here. So I see my stream. Now, it's when I add these event handlers that this issue occurs, because a remote user at some point is going to join and they're going to call this same method. So somebody's asking what we're trying to build. We went through a whole demo. It's a streaming application, just like you see in the thumbnail. I got the whole demo working. I'm not going to show that one. It's in the beginning of the stream if you want to check that out. But yeah, it's to do with these event handlers and how they're working. So the functions are there. So it's not the fact that the functions aren't there. Client.on, user published. Something's not... Yeah, it's in the promise and this area. And this is, I guess, for whoever wants to see someone debug live and see all the crappy parts of coding something. It's, you know, this is it, and it's not that entertaining or fun. But yeah, I know it's when these are added, because that's when the issue occurs. If that's not in there, it's going to be fine. And I looked through all the demo code, and that's exactly how every Agora application, or every application that's using Agora, has it. So I'm definitely doing this right. I'm just missing something else. And this entire area, let me just try something here. I'm going to paste in some demo code, and we're going to change this to tracks and tracks. So I just pasted in some other code that I had, and let's just see, maybe I'm like misspelling a word or something. Okay, yeah, so that's not the issue. Okay, Agora RTC, create microphone audio track, create camera video track, that's all good. Then we create that player. Then we get the element by ID. We append it. Get that video player. So this is the element that we're appending there. Then we do local tracks. We play the stream. And then we publish it. What happens if I don't publish it? Let's just try this. Does the issue still occur if I don't publish it? Client.join, sorry. Yeah, the issue occurs. So it's not there. Let's just try to do some process of elimination here and see what I'm missing. Okay, so it's not that. Let's try to turn off the stream. So it's definitely in the promise, I think. So let's just uncomment all of this. You guys are awesome for your support. I really appreciate this. I don't know why you would watch someone get stuck like this and try to debug this stuff. Okay. I mean, I'm looking at the code that I wrote before. This is kind of the thing. Everyone's telling me it's in this call right here. And I know it is, but it's also not, because in this call, I actually just copied and pasted the code that I wrote before that's fully working. This code right here. Let's actually just open this up. I mean, let me just close out. Let me close out the application. So for whoever wanted to see that demo, this is what what I'm building at this point. So if I hit join stream, here we go. So it's all working. If I open up another window and I hit join stream, it's all working. So, oh, it's going to be, 1 second. It's probably going to be echoing for you all. So I need to mute that mic. Okay. So, client. Yeah, I mean, I literally copied your client on might be off. Like I said, I copied the exact same code. I mean, I'm literally going to grab the entire function that I wrote before, and I'm just going to paste it over it. And in that case here, I'm going to take the join streams method, and I'm going to copy and paste this. And this is actually from that demo code. So this code right here, you probably didn't see it paste over. This is actually the code that I wrote up earlier. So we can see this is called player. Instead of all that, you see my comments. So if I save this, let me actually turn off this application now. I'll turn off this demo, and let's turn this one back on. Okay, so we join, and for some reason this isn't working now. Oops, I accidentally opened up Discord. Yeah, I'm just going to lose everybody on this stream. At this point, you're all probably just watching me to see how bad I screw up. Okay, so video tracks, local tracks. Oh, okay, so just these little areas. Yeah, because I named it differently in the demo code. Okay. Handle user joined. Now it's actually saying that it is something in this function. Okay, the audio track, I'll play that. Then we'll go to the remote one. Cannot read property undefined. At play. What do y'all think? Should I just give up at this point? Figure this out and go ahead and just do a full retake, or should I just keep pushing through it? It's what time is it right now? 10:17 in the evening here on Sunday night. It's not that late. I guess I can just see how far I go with it and figure something out. Handle user joined. I've seen I'm trying to remember this name. Is it? I can't pronounce your name, but I just put your comment there. I've seen you before. I'm trying to remember where from, whether it was on Twitter or here in the streams. I've seen you before. Let me know where you're from. Someone's asking me where I'm from. I'm from Florida in the U.S. That's traditional, or I guess my family's from Russia. So that's my background. Okay, so let's try something here. So I'm going to paste over the code that I know does work over this function. And I'm going to see if it still gives us an issue. If it doesn't, that means the issue is in this function, and all I have to do is find it. So that means that we're on the right track. Okay, it worked. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to figure this out now, because I just pasted in some code here. Okay, so now if I save it, this is the original code. So I pasted in the code that I know works, and we're going to solve this issue, because I'm not going to let it go until I figure out exactly what I did here. I want to find it because it's going to bug me. So it looks like it's trying to append some kind of video player right here, and then it's not working. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. There we go. I was trying to remember. I've seen you in the Discord. I think you're in the Django group. Yeah, okay, that looks, yeah, you're definitely familiar. Okay, so the issue is for sure in here. The reason why I know that is because I just took the demo code that I wrote up and I pasted this over it, the same exact function, and it worked. So let's go line by line and let's try to figure this out. And this is where a lot of people ask me for help in tutorials. This is what I recommend you do. Just test your own code, anything that worked. Just very thoroughly look at it. So handle user joined. I made it an async function in the demo. I called where I have the user object, and then we have media type with a capital T. Then we have the arrow function. Then we console this out. That's not important. Then we grab the remote tracks right here. So remote tracks, I want to make sure that we have that remote tracks. That's an object. So we take the remote track and we set the key to the user UID. Then we pass in the user object. So I'm 100% on par with that demo code. Then we take await client.subscribe. We pass in the user and the media type. Okay, so we throw the user in, so we subscribe the user again. So subscribe, let me just, actually I'll get to that in a minute. I wanted to answer that question, but subscribe is meaning that we're subscribing this remote user to our channel here. So we call await client subscribe. Then we check if the media type is video. We create this div right here. So we set the class to video containers. We just copied and pasted that. Video-wrapper user UID stream dash user UID for the ID value. Then we have document.get element by ID, user streams, insert adjacent HTML beforehand, and we pass in that HTML. Then we do user.video tracks. Is it track or tracks? Yeah, it's video tracks. Okay, let me test something here. Let's rename this right here instead of tracks. Let's do track. It might be that's misspelled, and if that is the case, I'm gonna be very, very annoyed. Happy that it's figured out, but annoyed that it happened. Okay, so we're taking the tracks. So let's just do everywhere we see video tracks. Let's just take out the S. And we're going to do video track because this is the only thing that I see different at this point from my original source code to what we have here. So let's just do audio tracks now. So we do audio tracks dot play. Oh man, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah, it was that. So for whoever wants to know the issue, Agora calls it audio and video track by default apparently. So when we set this remote user, I had this. Okay, 1 second. Is it echoing for y'all? Can you hear that or not? So it's picking up my audio. I need to close this out. Let me know if you can hear the echo. Okay, so Agora by default calls this audio track, not audio tracks, and that's what I called it. So that S right there, in that user object, I kept clicking, or I kept trying to trigger user.videotracks.play, but by default, Agora, gosh, is it actually Agora though? I think it is Agora. So this is me not understanding the documentation fully. I think Agora calls that video track. So because I didn't have that S there, that caused the issue. So it was a stupid typo that I had no echo. Okay, good. It was a stupid typo that caused that entire issue that stalled me for what, 40 minutes now, maybe more. Yeah, I'll redo this, and this will be a better video, either in a stream or in a full video that I just published. So let's check this out right now. So what we just did, we spent so much time and we got nowhere. But if I open this application up, so what we have here is this join button. When a user joins, we trigger this join stream method that takes our local video and it publishes it. And then we have these two event listeners, or this event listener that listens for when another user joins. When that user joins, we call handle user join. We create that track, the audio and video track. We subscribe the user to our streams. We subscribe the user, then we take that user's new stream that just joined the chat, and then we simply add that element and we play their stream. So what happens here is if I open this up now, let me make sure I'm not opening up too much here. So let's go ahead and open this up. I'm going to use live server, and let's bring this in right here. So if I hit join, I can see my stream. That's my local stream. But if I go ahead and open up a new window, so look what happens in this stream right here. So this stream right here, so if I paste this in the URL and I hit go, if I hit join, notice how I didn't have to refresh this page right here. So I'm going to make this full screen. I didn't have to refresh. Here, let me just remove this. I didn't have to refresh this, but it added in the remote user stream. And now if I go ahead and open up a new one and hit join, now we have 3. And I hear this echo because my headphones are plugged in here. So now we're adding that in, and every single user, when they join, is also going to get all the other streams, the remote streams, and it's going to add it to the stream. So that's what we just built in. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in a little bit of styling here. Let's make this look cool, and we'll continue on. So the next thing we want to do is actually give the user the ability to leave the stream, mute the mic, and then mute their camera. So we'll build that in right now. Okay, so sorry about that issue. That was a real pain. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go back into our HTML code, or actually we'll go into the CSS, and I'm going to do some styling here, and I have some already kind of like pre-written, but I'll just do this by hand because might as well at this point. And the first thing I'm going to do is just go into the body tag. So I'm taking that HTML body tag, and we're just going to set margin to 0. So we'll just set some defaults. We'll just do margin 0, and then we'll set padding. For anybody that just joined, we were solving an annoying issue that completely ruined the stream, so that was really fun. We'll have to redo this. So I'm going to set the background color, and I'm actually going to paste this in. So we're just setting this to the entire body right now. We're going to change some colors. So now it looks like this. We just removed any margin. I want to make it look like the demo that we had. And we're going to set the color here. So I want to set all the colors. So the text color, we'll just use this Alice Blue, I think that's the name of it. And then for the font family, let's just go ahead and get Poppins font. So we're just going to use Google Fonts here. And remember, the source code, by the way, is in the description for anybody that wants that. We'll make sure it's all working. So Google Fonts. And let's just go ahead and get Poppins because real web developers use Poppins apparently. So we'll go to Poppins, we'll grab this one, and I'm just going to get the light version of 300 and then the light version of 200 here. Okay, one second, let me refresh that. I'm so zoomed in, it keeps throwing this off. So we select that, and then we're also going to select light 300. So with Google Fonts, let me zoom out a little bit. I can just go ahead and grab this entire link right here. Let me, oh, yeah, I'm not sharing the screen. What? How much did I miss? Okay, so here's what happened. I added in some CSS. We just added in body. So we set this background color. We set some color to text. So we removed any margin or padding. And this is what we currently have on the site. So this is what we just did. I think that's all you missed. Sorry about that. Okay, so we added that in, and I'm just adding in a Google Fonts. So I went to Google Fonts and I looked up Poppins. So just Google up Google Fonts, select the fonts that you want and the type, and go ahead and go to this link or grab these links right here. And let's just bring those in here. So inside of our index.html, inside of the header tag, or you can also just import it directly into the CSS file. So we just pasted these 3 lines in right here from Google Fonts. You can see that it tells us what fonts we have and the weights that we're allowing. And let's just go ahead and save that. And then in our CSS, we're just going to go ahead and use those fonts. So we're just going to copy that. That's actually going to tell us where or how to use this font right here. Let's see if that's zoomed in enough. So we're just grabbing that and we're just going to paste that in here. So we're setting the font and let's go back here. Okay, so we just adjusted the font. And let's see, what else do we want to do? So for main, I actually want to create some kind of container real quick. So we won't spend too much time on this right now, but let's just go ahead and take this main tag. We'll just take main right here, and we're just going to do main directly. We'll set the width to 1400 pixels. And then we'll just set margin 0 auto. So we're going to center this. And if anyone has a phone or is on their computer and has a webcam, let me know if you want to test this out. I'll actually post this publicly and I'll show you how to do that so we can join it. And I'm assuming everyone's going to crash it and then we'll just, kind of let it go. But I wouldn't mind seeing that so you guys can actually talk because your camera will actually go on and your mic will go on. So give me a yes or no if I see a few people that want to do this. It's auto. I'm like stuck at this right here. It's auto, not audio. Okay. Wow. Blanked out. Okay, so we're setting that, and then let's just set the height here to 75H, or viewport height. Okay, so that's just going to go ahead and move this in the middle here, or it should at least. Margin 0 auto, height 75 viewport height. Let's try to reopen this then. Okay, I see some people saying they want to see it. Cool. We'll do that in a second then. Okay, so let's just finish up the styling so it at least looks good, and then it's probably going to be really crappy on the phone, so we'll have to fix that later. Okay, main. No, I'm not going to get stuck on a CSS issue. There's no way. 1400 pixels, margin 0 auto. This can't be happening. I call the tag main. No way I'm going to allow myself to get stuck on CSS. I've been doing this for too long to get stuck on this. Okay, let me just try something like this. Let me just try something with it. I'm gonna set background color, and we'll just do this color. Okay, so it's working, it's just not centering that. Oh, okay, I think I realize why. I'm so zoomed in that it is centered. It's just you're not gonna be able to see it because I'm zoomed in for you guys so you can see it. Okay, cool. So we have that, we have the height. And what I want to do is take this wrapper around all these user streams, and I want to make sure that they're in line so they're not stacking on top of each other. So let's just go ahead and take these user streams. So we'll do user streams, and I'm going to display this as a grid. So we'll just do display grid, and we're going to do grid dash template columns. So if you don't know CSS grids, this is a way of working with layouts. There's CSS flexbox. So inside of these template columns, I'm just going to do repeat. And in repeat, we're just going to do auto fit, auto dash fit. And then I want to set min max. So I basically want the columns to be adjustable here. So we're going to set the minimum size to a column and then the max here. And min max is a function inside of CSS that allows us to set the min to 600 pixels. And then if there is more space, go ahead and set that to a full fraction. So 1FR. Okay, so let's try this. So if I go in here and if I hit join right here, so we should see, okay, what I need to do also is actually take this off of the video player. So the video player, I'm going to set the height and width to 100%. And then we're just going to do border dash radius. We'll just do 10 pixels, make it look a little bit better. Overflow, hidden, and let's see, that should be good. We want to add in a gap here, so we want to create space between them, 1 EM. And let's just set the height to 100%. So height 100%. Okay. So if I join, so let's try to refresh that. Okay, so I need to set a parent to one of these. Do we have a wrapper around our video player? So we have our video player and our video containers. Let's just try setting a height, I guess. We'll just do 400 pixels. Remember, we had this issue before. Okay, so we set 1. Then if I bring this in right here, join, it should give us 2. Okay, so it's still stacking on top of each other right now. Okay, user streams, I'm setting the grid here. I'm hearing that echo again, so let me turn this off. Repeat auto fit, min max 600 pixels, gap 100% or 1 EM, then the video player. Okay, let's just try this. Okay, so before we actually style this, because I don't want to get caught up on the styling, what I'm going to do is give you all a live link so you all can join. I'll see who joins. Hopefully there's nothing malicious on it or no one's posting anything, I guess, gross or anything like that. So to actually post this live, we don't actually have to deploy this application. What we can use is something called ngrok. And this is going to allow us to basically create a live URL. Here, let me show my full face because it's, well, I guess it doesn't matter. So we're going to create a live URL that's going to point to port 5000. So everything I'm doing locally, you'll be able to actually access that and see it. That's how I actually created the demo here. So we'll just go ahead and look up ngrok and height and pixel width in percentages. Yeah, it's something there. I'll fix that in a second. Okay, so we're going to ngrok.com. Go ahead and create an account. It's free. Get started. And all you need to do is go ahead and download it. What it's going to do is it's going to give you a zip file. Go ahead and unpack that. You can manually click on it, just drag the file out. And let's actually, I guess, let's just do that. So we'll just go ahead and do download. Here's that zip file. I'm just going to bring that on my desktop here. So we're taking this zip file. I'm going to bring this out here, and I'm just going to take this ngrok.exe file, and I'm going to drag this into my chat application. So now in the chat app, we should see ngrok.exe. So that file is in here. So all I need to do now, and you can go to the ngrok website, but I'm just going to run that from here. So you can actually go directly here, and you can just do // here. Let me actually move this over so you can see it. // and we're going to do ngrok, and then we're just doing HTTP, and then the port that we're currently on. And what port is that? Well, that's going to be port 5501. So I'm going to turn that on, and here is the URL. So I'm going to post it, and I'm probably going to have to turn this off really quick, but you're going to see a rough version of this application. So if I actually go here, let me move this over. So I'll copy that link. I don't want to copy everything. And I'm going to go to the browser now. So you notice that we're on that local port. So if I actually go to the live port, this is a live URL here. So let's give this a second. Showing me all the connections here. Let's see, why is that not working? Did I give it the wrong port? Maybe I did it 5501. I can give it that, I think. Let's try this one more time. ngrok 50. Not sure why that's not working. I guess I lied about ngrok then. Let me go to the website. Let's see what I'm doing wrong here. So according to them, so we download it, and then we just do dot, and then we specify your local port. Yeah, this demo might not work, guys. Missing the / at the end or the beginning. Here, let's do this. I got another link for you. Let's just use the actual demo that I worked on. Let's work with this one. So I'm going to post this in the chat, and I'm going to join the stream. So I want to be able to hear you all. So anybody that wants, go to that chat, and if the second this gets crazy, I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. So I'm going to turn off that link. But you should be able to mute your mic right away, so go ahead and try doing that. Visit this link, and let's see. There we go. It's working. I don't know if everyone else can hear you. Nice. Are you in the chat? What's your name? There we go. Nice. So we're able to see it. Everyone's using the demo. Let me try to just go full screen here. I'm wondering how many people it'll take to crash it. Are you guys hearing the audio from like the stream and this, or yeah, it's throwing it off? Hey, let's try this out. Let's just see how many people can join. Let's try to crash this thing. So by the way, you can actually see the stats. So if I go into, yeah, so it's not that responsive. If I actually go to Agora, so check this out, I can actually go to the application that I'm currently using. Here, let's go into live stream, or I don't remember what the hell I called it. Okay, right here. So if I go to usage, I'll zoom out a little bit. How many people we got in here? 7? Nice. Oh yeah, you can turn off the camera and turn it back on too. All right. Let's see. You guys talking to me? So let's go to usage. Here we go. So check it out. So this is Agora. It's given us, you can all see the stream. 369 minutes are now on voice, 393 minutes on video. And yeah, this is all the usage. Agora gives us 10,000 minutes to use for free. So pretty cool. Nice. We actually survived. I thought it would just crash right away. This is neat. All right. Well, I'm going to turn off the demo then. I'll just close this out. Thank you all for helping me test this. That's really cool. Awesome. Take care. The site will stop working here in a minute. Sweet. All right. Well, we saw the demo. That took up I guess a little bit of time outside of coding, but I hope that was neat to see. So that was the live demo that we actually have complete, but now we need to actually finish this one up. Audio is clear. Cool. Can you barely hear the other person that joined? Yeah, I don't know if it's picking up the the screen audio too. And Agora actually gives us ways to turn up that volume too and actually have full control over that. Okay, so where was I at? So we didn't work with the ngrok demo with what we're building right now. So we'll just continue from here. And we see that this one's working and we just need to style this. So let's get back to the actual things here. So let's see. Okay, turning all this off. Kind of lost my train of thought. Yeah, definitely a pretty unconventional stream. Okay, cool. Files are all in the link description. Source code's all there. It's all live for everyone to see. It's all on GitHub. All right, so let's fix this size here first, and then we'll move on. So we have, let's see, the user streams. Let's go to the HTML, or actually we need to go to JS. So we have the video containers. It could be in the video containers that this isn't working. So let's try doing this. So the video player, at this point, I want it to be 100% height and width for the video player. And then I want to set the actual container. So we'll just do video player container. So that's this wrapper right here. So we're taking this container. And let's see what I want to do here. I think I also want to set that to 100%. So videos container. Let's try height and width. Okay, so we'll join that. Yeah, for some reason it's not showing. Let me try to inspect this and see what's going on with that div here. Missing IO at the end of ngrok. Oh, that's, yeah. See, that the issue here is I was really zoomed in, so I'm only getting part of it. So when I'm copying that, that actually makes perfect sense. So, I mean, we tested the better demo anyways. It was better for that purpose. You at least saw it be somewhat responsive. Okay, so let's see. User streams, video containers. So the height and width is 100%, and then the video containers height and width is 100%. I did this in the example here. Yeah, I'm just trying to think slower, man. I'm throwing off. Okay. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to save it. For some reason, it's not working at all. And I know it's one of the parent elements that I'm not resizing, because if I manually resize it, like just add in a number to it or like a pixel size to it, it'll work. Okay. So it's all in user streams. User streams height is 100%. Let's just give this a background color so we can see. I know part of it is the zoom. Okay. Here, let's just add some height to the body too. So let's see, we have a body. Let's just give this 100% at this point. Okay, we're displaying user streams. Oh, yeah, I found this. I found the issue. That was supposed to be an ID. That's what's causing it. Okay, so I can actually set this back to 75 viewport height, not 175. So this was supposed to be user streams. We got that as an ID right here. Now let's try that. Okay, so we got the full height. I just give it that background color so I can see it. User streams has the height. Now the video containers. Let's see. I don't think I actually need a height here. So let's try this. Let's go ahead and join in the stream. Okay, there we go. All right, so I had to quiet down there because the audio was starting to interrupt. Okay, so that was the case because I'm too zoomed in. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and make this responsive. So we're going to take main here, and we're going to say at media screen and max width 1400 pixels. So at media screen, we're going to add in, I guess, a media query. And let's see. Media screen and max dash width. And we'll just do 1400 px. And at this point, what I'm going to do is just set this to 95%. Okay, so we don't need the margin 0 auto. That's already adjusted. That's 195. We need it to be 95. So now if I add it, join. Okay, there we go. So now it's actually responsive. Okay, I need to keep muting that. I just need to add in that mute functionality soon. So we have it responsive now, and it looks a little bit funny still because I'm so zoomed in. So let's add in that. Let's actually turn off the sound here. Let me just go ahead and go into main.js, and I'm actually going to comment out the microphone track here. Let's see. So I publish it right here. I think I could just go to create microphone track and comment that out, but that's probably going to give me an issue because I actually don't want to create the track when a user first joins. Okay, so I'm just going to have to leave it. I'll just mute it right now, or I'll just manually mute it when I join. Okay, so let's do that before we finish up styling because that's not going to allow me to work here. So at this point, we're going to skip the initial styling and we're going to go ahead and add in a user leave option. So we want to make sure that a user can actually leave the site here. So let's go ahead and build this in. We're going back to our JavaScript. So in here, let's see, handle user left. So that's what we're going to work on right now. So in handle user left, let me just pull up the original code here. So all we want to do at this point, when a user leaves, we just want to go ahead and delete the remote tracks. So we want to delete the remote tracks. So we're going into remote tracks here. Remember, we add the user when a user joins to the remote track. Now we just want to delete this user. We're going to pass in the user object, and we're going to do user.uid. So we're deleting that user from the track, and then we're just going to go ahead and delete that user's video wrapper. So we're going into document.get elements by ID, or get element by ID. And in this case, we're going into that user's video dash wrapper, and we're going to pass in the user's ID. So we'll just do user.uid. Okay, so when the user clicks that, we want to remove it. So let's go up here and add an event handler. So we'll just go ahead and respond to this. So we'll just do document .get element by ID. And this is going to be leave-btn. So we have a leave button right here in our HTML. So when this button is clicked, we want to go ahead and remove that user. Okay, so I think I just called the function directly. Okay, I figured it out. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This function, all it's doing is removing the remote user. So that means when a user leaves, it's just gonna remove the user from our screen, but not necessarily when we leave. So we wanna add that in first. So handle user left is gonna delete the remote user and then delete their video frame. So we already added that event handler. So on user left, we want to trigger this method. Now, when we leave, we want to add in this event handler. So document.getElement by ID, when that button is clicked, so we want to get that button first, and we're just going to add in an event listener. The event listener is going to listen for the click event, and then we're just going to go ahead and process this information. So when that user clicks on this, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and loop through all the tracks here. So we're just going to go ahead and do for track name in local tracks. So we're going through all of our tracks, our video and audio tracks. So we're just going to loop through those, and we're going to remove them. So we're going to set the track here, and this is going to be equal to local tracks, and then we're going to set the track name. So the audio and video track name. We're going to take that track and we're going to say if there is a track. So first we want to check it at some point. We don't want it to throw errors if we don't have it. So we're just going to take that track. We're going to say if track exists. Then we just want to go ahead and stop the track first. So we'll just do track.stop. And I wrote some notes here. So I actually had some questions myself here. So track.stop or track.stop. What this is going to do is it's going to turn off your camera and mic. So we're going to loop through and we're going to turn off the camera and mic. So we'll just say stops camera and mic. So this is turning off your camera. Now we also want to do track.close. So what close does is this is going to disconnect your camera and mic. So your camera and mic are technically still connected to the stream, but now we want to close them. So we just want to completely disconnect, and then you would actually have to reset that at some point. So we're just going to do track.close, and we're just going to say disconnects your camera from the mic. And I'm actually going to paste in the comment here. So this disconnects you. Once we do that, then what we want to do is just go ahead into local tracks, and we want to pass in the track name. So we're taking in that track name. This is going to be audio or video, and we're going to set this back to null, which was its original starting point. So we're resetting that back. So we're looping through those tracks, we're closing them, closing everything out, and that's it. Now what we want to do is we want to actually use await, so we need to make this an async function. And outside of this loop right here, we're just going to go ahead and do await, and this is going to be client.leave. Now leave just takes our stream and removes it from all the other user streams. So let's say me and 3 other people are in a stream. I stop my stream, my video, I close my camera, technically just turning it off, and then I leave the stream. So I disconnect from their stream. So when I call this is going to notify all the other users that I left. So it's going to trigger this user left event, which will then trigger handle user left, and it's going to perform all this and all the remote users inside of their browser. So it's going to trigger that. So we have await client.leave, and that's it. So we close our client object right here and we remove our connection. So client.leave, and what I want to do at this point is go ahead and just remove my stream from the camera here. So we'll just go ahead and do document.getElement by ID, and we actually want to delete all the user streams. So user streams, and we just want to say .inner HTML, and we're going to set that to blank. So if I leave, I don't want to still see other people's streams. It means I left the stream, so I'm done. I just want to close everything out, and that's going to be it. And what I'm going to do here is, I guess at that point, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to leave it like this. So let's try this again. So if I join, and if I join another user, okay, so we see 2 streams. If I click leave, I have to zoom out to see it. Where the heck is that leave button? Here, I'll close that one out. The audio is messing with me. Okay, so where is that? Okay, here they go. Here they are. Let's try this here. So we'll go to join. Oh, that's like overfilling it. Dang it. I guess I'm going to have to work on some CSS. It's actually hiding that. Okay, so let's dang zoom. Let's just go ahead and actually set the height and width manually to this video player, and let's just do like 100 pixels each. We'll just make him small. for now, and then we'll just restyle this. So 100 pixels and then 100 px. Okay, so I'm in the stream right now. If I hit leave, it just removed it. So let's try this again. We'll join, and then we'll take in another user. We'll do join. Okay, I have to get that leave button. So if I leave here, it just disconnected all those streams, and it should completely remove everything in here. How the hell did you join? I thought I turned off that, yeah, I can hear you, man. What the hell? I thought I turned off the ngrok link, though. Okay, apparently people can still join it. I'll have to completely turn off my local server then. That's funny. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, join. This has got to be by far the most unconventional stream. Okay, for some reason it's not removing these IDs too. Let's see what's going on here. It should completely remove them. So you notice that when I join here, we see the two streams right here. So here, let's split this. So now if I leave here, it's going to remove this user stream. So we disconnected our stream, and we also left from the user's other stream. Someone's saying that was epic. I'm assuming you're responding to someone joining that. I have no idea where that ngrok URL is. Meaning, like I assumed if I turned it off, it would just stop. Very curious. Whoever did that, let me know how the heck that works. I learned something new. I literally just learned how to use ngrok like yesterday. Okay, so for some reason it's not removing the IDs though. So let's go back into, let's see. Let's go back in here. So we're supposed to get document.get element by ID, user streams. We're supposed to set our own inner HTML to an empty, or just empty, I guess. I think I called that div wrong then. User steams. Okay, that's why I called it user steams. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going to refresh this. We'll hit join. And then we're going to refresh it, hit join here. If I leave, now it removes the other user stream and my stream. So it just got rid of that. And it also got rid of my stream in the other user's stream. Yeah, so wow, I'm completely thrown off today. This is a funny stream. All right, let's continue. So we have that a user can leave. So we allow a user to leave, and they're able to leave they're completely clear their browser and clear everyone else's. Now let's work on muting a user. So we want to mute our own information. So for this, let's do this. Let's actually go to our footer, or let's create a footer here. So I'm just going to create a div. So we'll just go ahead and do this. Take these buttons, and we're going to put this in a div so I can always see them. So we'll just give this the ID of footer. Okay, so we'll go to the CSS now, and let's just make sure we can always see our footer. So above this media query, we're gonna go ahead and throw that in here, throw in our footer, and then we're gonna display this as flex. So I wanna make sure everything is inlined, and then I also wanna do position, and we're gonna set that to fixed. So we always want it to be in frame at the bottom. So we'll just do bottom, and this is gonna be 0. And then left is gonna be 0. Okay, so let's see if I have anything else for my footer. So left, bottom, and I think that should be good for now. Okay, there we go. So it always stays. So if I join, and then join in the other stream, it should always be in frame. Here, let's try to give it like a background color, and let's just see. Let's go to the main CSS file. Maybe that's why. Let's try background color. Just do crimson. Okay, so it should be there. Looks good. Should always be at the bottom. Okay, so I just wanted to add that in just to make sure it's always there. So let's work on the leave functionality. So there's going to be another function that I'm going to create for this. And this is going to be leave user, I believe. Okay, so we're going to add an event handler. We're going to go up here. So we have our join. We have our leave button, not the leave button. So we want to do this after leave. And we're just going to create an event on mute. So let's actually add this above. So underneath our join button. So document .get element by ID. And we're just going to do mic-btn. So that's what I called it in the template. So this is mic button. So on click of the mic button, let's go ahead and just add an event listener. So we'll just do add event listener. And we're just going to do click. On click, we're going to create the function. I'm going to make this async here. So we are going to have to wait on a network call here. And then let's go ahead and complete this. It's an arrow function. So on click, let's go ahead and continue. So when we click this, what I want to do is first check our current state. Are we currently listening or are we quiet right now? Like is our mic on or off? So we want to check this condition. So what I'm going to do is actually create some state for my tracks here. So we'll just do let, and we're going to call this local track state. So this is going to be state for our local tracks. And here we're going to have an audio and video track. So we'll just do audio track muted. And this is going to be set to false. So when a user first loads their website, it's going to be false because its audio is going to be on unless the user specified something else. And then we're going to do video track muted. And we're also going to set this to false too. So the audio and video tracks are going to be live or active. So that's going to be set to false. That's a state of our local tracks. So now what I want to do here is go to this mic button event handler. And when a user clicks on this, the first thing I want to do is check if the audio track is on or off. So if it's not, so if the local track state dot audio track muted. So if it's not muted, that's what the not operator is doing right there. Then what we want to do is we want to mute our audio. So we're just going to set await, and we're just going to do local tracks. So our local tracks, we're just going to go ahead and do audio track. So we're going into not the state now, we're going into local tracks. Okay, so we're taking that local track and we're just going to set muted. This is a function that we can use, and we're going to set this to true. So we're going to mute our track, and then all I'm going to do is go ahead and update my local track state audio track muted value, and we're going to set this to true. So that means yes, we are now muted. Then I'm going to create an else statement. So we'll just do else, and we're going to take these two right here, and we're going to set this to true. Okay, so let's save that. And I'm going to test this out. You won't hear it. I might have to turn on my screen recording sound, and we'll have to see if it actually works and if you can see it. So we're going to take this here. Whoops, open up another one. Let's open up 2 frames here. Okay, I hear the echo. If I hit mute and mute right here, now I can't hear it. So let's try this. Let me know if you can hear the screen sound. I know there's gonna be a delay, so I'll have to wait for everyone here. But in the screen sharing, let's see. So I'm actually gonna have to remove this right here, and okay, I'm gonna stop my screen share, add my screen share, because I have to reset it completely. Okay, let me know if you all hear the audio. I guess the double noises or whatever, the echo. So 1 second. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's try to refresh this completely. Okay, and the echo should start now. Let me know if you hear that. If you can, just write it in the comments. Okay, you can hear it. Cool. Now check this out. If I hit mute, that muted one of those. So this one's muted. If I hit mute right here, now you can't hear the echo, or you shouldn't hear the echo. If you still hear it, say I hear the echo on the second round or whatever. Okay, so now the echo should go away. Now if I click, let me hide that. If I click mute again, it should technically turn on the audio again. For some reason, it's not working. So I should be able to trigger it on and off. And that's because muted should be set to false. That's why. Okay. Echoing is normal when there's multiple audio streams. Okay, cool. So let's try this again. I'm going to turn this one on right here. So I just muted this one, and then I can mute it. So now it should be muted, and I can unmute it. Okay, now it's still working. Perfect. So muting and unmuting now works. If you all saw that example, I just want to make sure you're hearing everything. Let me know. Let me know that you heard the muting and unmuting working. So that's how we can mute our audio. Now, let's see, but what about putting it on a server? That's a whole, I mentioned this in the beginning of the stream. I just learned about Agora. I'm just starting to use it. I was learning about WebRTC. I got reached out to by Agora, and I'm working with another YouTuber named Tadas on this, and we're just trying to figure things out. So I literally learned this over the weekend, and I might be building full chat applications, video streams. I don't know. We'll figure something out, maybe with backends, and we'll deploy our applications. Cool. Everyone's saying it works. Awesome. So cool to see that it's working. Let's go ahead and work on the video display now. So we're going to work on that video display so I can actually remove the video stream and then turn it back on so I don't actually have to leave. So I can trigger that, and then once that's done, I'll add in some icons. We'll just complete the styling, and that should be it for the entire stream here. So let's do that. So we'll go ahead and add in another event handler. So now we have our camera button. So what I'm going to do is take this event handler for the mic button, and I'm just going to paste this below. Yeah, the CSS file, I know it's all broken right now. I just need to focus on getting this part done so I can move on to the next one. So camera button on click. Okay, so what are we doing here? So on camera click, it's going to be very similar to the mute button, except for in our local state, we have a video track muted option. So that just means is our video track active or not? So we just want to change that. So muted just means that the video track won't show. It's not the actual audio. So we'll go back to camera button. Don't mix these two up because they look exactly the same. And we're just going to do local track state. If the local track video track is not muted, then what we want to do is mute it. So we're just going to do local tracks, and then we'll just do video. And we're going to set that to mute, and that's it. So it's the same. It's actually very simple, not much different from the audio track. And we're going to change this to local video track muted and set that to true. And then take this value, paste that over audio, take this value, paste that over audio right there. Okay, so let's test this out now. So if I go ahead and try this again, let's see what happens. So I'm going to join it, and we'll join here. I'll mute the audio. We'll just do camera. So you see how the camera disappears right here. Let's try this one more time. I actually missed that myself. So join, mute that, join, and mute it. Okay, so we see both video streams right here. Just want to make sure everyone can see that. So we see both video streams. If I hit mute right here, no, not mute, camera. So hide camera. You see this black screen. It just shows that my camera is not there. It's still in frame. But the camera here disappears. So that's actually what I want to fix. Now, if I hit unmute for the camera, it comes back here. So I don't want it to fully disappear. I just want it to just like go black, I guess, like this one right here. And the other issue is that it keeps adding extra streams here. So it's technically working, but not in the way that we want it. So if I mute it, unmute it, it just adds it again, but we're seeing all these extra IDs. I know part of the issue is that it's super zoomed in, but we still need to fix this issue. So let's go ahead and do this. So we'll go in here, and once we actually set this value, we want to go into this join streams method here. So this is one fix that I found to this. And essentially, all we need to do is make sure that we're not adding another player here, because what's happening is anytime we unmute our camera, the join method here, so user publish method, actually gets fired off again. So what's happening here is handle user gets fired off every time we join. And once that's fired off, we call this method again, and we actually recreate this video player, and then we reappend it to the stream. And we don't want to do that. So in this case, the fix that I found here, and again, I'm not sure if this is the best way to do this, but the fix I found here was just to go ahead and run a quick check here. So all I do is do document.get element by ID, and I'm just going to get this value right here. So the video wrapper. So if the video wrapper is there, so we're going to use backticks here. If the video wrapper is there, we get the specific one by the user ID, then we want to make sure that we don't actually add anything. So we're just going to go ahead and say if player, or if video, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to call this video player. So let video player is equal to document.get element by ID. We're getting that video player. Then we're checking if that video player is not equal to null. So if it doesn't exist, then we want to go ahead and actually add it there. So if it's not equal to null, we want to continue this condition. We just want to go ahead and remove it. So let me just recap this. So this means that we muted our mic, right? So that means the video player does exist. So if it does, we want to go through this method and we want to re-add everything. Now, if we unmuted it and it does exist, that means it's not null. We just want to remove the current player and we just want to re-add the original player. So that's one way that we're going to do it. So we just run that check, and now if we do this, it should fix this issue. So we're just removing the duplicate before we add it again. Okay, so let's try this again. We'll hit join. I'm going to mute that. Then we'll hit join. Okay, so mute that mic. Okay, so I hide it, and then if I unmute it, it should add it. Okay, it's not working. So it works locally, it's just not working remotely. So I'm checking if the video player is not null. Oh, video player, so I need to remove it. Okay, join. Let's mute that right away. Also mute that. Okay, so we're going to hide the camera, unhide it. There we go. So now there's no duplicates, and we're kind of seeing that work out here. So I'm just going to go full screen so everyone can see that. Try to zoom in a little bit more. My CSS is all messed up. So now it's working, and then if this user mutes themselves, it disappears on this side. And then if I add one more here, let's just see where this user appears in the stream. It should give us a third user. So if I mute this user now, this bottom one goes away. Okay, so the muting or the hiding of a video actually works here, so we can continue from here. So now let's work on some styling. So when I mute a user, it doesn't really look that good, so we want to make sure to add some CSS here, and we're going to start fixing everything up. So that's the final part here. Okay, someone's asking where I'm from. I think I've seen this question. I don't know if it's from the same person. I don't know if it's from me, but I am from the US and Florida. Traditionally from Russia. That's where my family's from. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into main.css, and I'm going to use my example code here to follow. So we'll start with the body. The body all looks good. The main tag looks good. User streams here. So for user streams, let's see, we have a gap. All that looks good. That's the containers or the wrappers around the actual streams. Then if we go to video containers, let's go ahead and actually make sure the IDs are inside of those video containers. So for this, we're going to go ahead and set the position to relative. So we'll set position relative. And I'm actually just going to, I'll actually do it manually. I was going to copy and paste some code, but I'll just set all this so I can explain. So we'll just do margin. Oh crap, what did I click here? So margin will also be 0. So this is the video container. So it's the wrapper that goes around the video itself. So when we're creating this item right here, the video player, it's the video container right here around it. So we're setting the position to relative. We're setting the margin and padding. We just want to make sure that everything Nothing's being affected. It's not like messing up any positioning here. So we're setting that value, and then let's see. We want to set the background color. Let's do that. We'll just get the background color, and I actually have a hex color that's going to give us some opacity, and that's what I wanted to paste in here. So I also want to do border radius. So we'll just do border dash radius, and we're going to set that to 10 pixels. Okay, so here's what I was trying to do. If I go here, and it looks horrible right now, and we'll fix this in a second, but when a user goes away, I don't want it to completely remove the user video from the stream. So I'll mute, I'll join and then mute. Okay, so if I turn off my camera, I don't want anything to go away right here. So I want it to show that the user is still there, and then maybe display that user's name or something like that. So that's what I just did here. I added in this background right here, so that will always be in frame. Now we want to make sure the video actually looks good too. So we'll take that videos container. I think that's good at this point. And now we want to go to the video player. So the video player, I'm going to set that to 100% in height and width. And this is what I was having issues with earlier. So I want to fix all this. We set the border radius. We set overflow to hidden. So anything that's overflowing, we want to make sure that's not visible. And let's see, the user's UID. So we also have a UID for the user right here. So this value, we want to make sure that that's covering the frame. So let's try this. So if I go to join, okay, do I have this open in another frame here? I do. So I'm actually going to copy and paste some code for the user UID. So let's just go ahead and paste this in right here. And this is going to display the user UID as a block. That's the tag, or the paragraph tag. We're going to give it a background that's going to have some opacity. We're going to set some padding, some border radius, and we're going to position it absolute to the bottom of the video player frame, or the video container. So I want to make sure that just like in the demo, the actual name of the user is displayed over the video. So that's what we're trying to do here, and we're just making sure that it's out in front here. Okay, so there we go. That looks better. So this is what I was trying to do. So now it displays the user video name right there in frame. So let's try to go ahead and join with another user. I'm going to mute my audio. It's starting to look a little bit better. Okay, mute, and here we go. So we see both of our users right here, but we need to fix this layering, and I think that's because I'm zoomed in. Okay, that's because I'm zoomed in, but this is what we just did. We added in this border, and now if I if I go to camera, look what happens in the other user's frame. Or it should happen. Let's try this one more time. Let's fix this. Okay. I'm going to join. Mute that. Okay. So let's hide our camera. And here we go. So now we see that the user is still there. So it's not going to be, it's not going to look like someone just left our frame. It just looks like they muted their mic. And typically you'd have like a user logo or something like that. That just kind of shows that the user is still there. And let's see why it's not displaying both. Okay, let's mute this. Okay, now we're having some kind of duplicate. Oh man, this has been some crazy stream. Francisco, or is it? Yeah, Francisco is saying legend. I appreciate that because this has been a really difficult stream. Like, we've been having so many mess ups that I don't know if you've been here the whole time. I don't know if you would say that if you saw the whole stream. It's been definitely challenging. Okay, that's why it's displaying another user. It's because I have 3 users and I didn't realize that. Okay, let's mute it. Yeah. We're gonna let this user mute it too. Okay, so we're gonna hide our camera, and here we go. Perfect. Now it's working. So this user right here can't see the other user. So we have the 2 frames. You can see the 2 tabs. I want to make sure everyone can see that. So we have the 2 frames, and if I hide my camera, the other user has their camera hidden, but they can't see it. So let's just unhide both cameras. And user 1, we'll just call this one user 1. User 1 is going to hide his camera. So my camera now doesn't show, but on user 2's screen, he's still going to see his camera, but my screen will look like this. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. All right. First chat app that lets you chat with yourself. Yeah. Okay, so we have that. Let's see. What I want to do now is actually work on my footer and my header. So let's go ahead and actually fix this title up here. So there was a Google font that I wanted to use here. And this was let's see, it's kind of like a fancy font. So we want to give our project a name here. So let's go to this main tag, and just above this button, let's go ahead and add in an H1 tag. So we'll just do H1, and we're just going to call this Ivy Streams. So I guess that's the app name, Ivy Streams. That's going to be the name of it. So I'm going to give it an ID of site title, site-title, save that, and let's go ahead and actually style this. So in main.css, we're going to add this at the top here. We're going to use this div and then the font-type, or font style. For this, I have a Google font that I want to use, and this is like a fancy font, and I think it was called Permanent Marker. Here, let's just look up cursive Google fonts. Forgive my misspell here. So let's just find a font here. So I actually want to get one of these. So let's find one that just makes it look somewhat interesting. Let's just use this one. Okay, this is actually the one I used originally. So because I already added in Google Fonts into my application, we're just going to go ahead and not take the whole link, but we're going to take this link right here after the and symbol, and we're going to take permanent marker and copy that. So at this point, what I could do is just go into my main.html file and just add that into this link right here. So we have all these fonts. Family is Poppins. And then we'll just do and. I think that should do it. I believe it actually has to say family here. So we'll just do family equals and then permanent plus marker. And now I can just go ahead and actually use this font. So I'm going to take this font family right here, copy that, close out Google Fonts, and we'll go back to our CSS file. Okay, so that's our site title, and let's check this out. So if I refresh it, there we go. Okay, so there's Ivy Streams, we have our title. So in the GitHub source code, let's actually pull this up, sorry for hitting the mic. So in the source code, let's go ahead and actually find this video chat app. It looks like some people are already cloning it. So all the source code is there. So this is all in the video description. We're going to go into assets here, and I'm actually going to download these icons here. So let's go ahead and just save image as, and we'll go into our chat app. Is that what we're working in? Let's see. Weird, for some reason I'm not seeing all the files. Okay, so we'll just save this. We'll go into chat app, and we're going to create a new folder, and this is going to be called assets. And we're going to save that in here. So if I save that, now inside of VS Code, I should be able to see assets, and then I see leave.svg. So let's just take all these icons. So this is just like a P symbol. It's kind of hard to see it right now. You'll see it in a second. This is a microphone icon here. So we'll just go ahead and save this. So that's microphone.svg and then video.svg. Okay, so I downloaded those three icons, and now I actually want to use those. So we'll go ahead and go into index.html, and instead of having buttons here, I'm going to change this to an image here. So we're going to go to the camera, set that to IMG. We'll remove that right there. Make sure you can still see the stream. Okay, so we're going to change that to an image, and then for the source here, let's set that to go into assets / let's see. So dot assets and then camera or video.svg. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's see if it's actually showing up here. Okay, now we see this big old video icon, and it looks horrid right now, so we want to fix that. Okay, so we just want to add in a class here so we can actually style all of these. So we'll just do class icon or control icon. And let's just give this class to, actually here, let's just change all of these. So let's just take these tags right here, change that to img, give that the class of control icon. Let's take that out right there, close, or add in that closing forward slash, add in the source. And we're gonna call this one, let's see, this was the mic. So microphone.svg. And we'll do the same for the leave button. So img. Okay. And for the source, let's just copy all this right here and paste it in right here. Okay, so this last one is going to be the leave SVG. Okay, so for the control icon, I give them all a class. We're going to go into the CSS here, and let's just add this in right here. And we just want to give this some styling. So first of all, I want to display them as a block. So we'll display them as a block element. I'm just kind of trying to watch the chat here. Okay, so we're displaying them as a block. We're going to add in some padding. We'll just do 15 pixels. So padding 15 px here, and let's just give them a height and width. And this is going to be height of 30 pixels, width of 30 pixels. And then the background color, well, we're going to make this that transparent color, and I'm just going to use the same hex. It's this weird looking hex that's going to give us a transparent color, and that should be good for our control icon. So here we go. Now we can see those three buttons. Looks like there's a typo in footer, position, fix. Okay, I'll look over. Thank you for that. I'll look into that in a second. So let's see. We'll go into footer. Footer was down here. Position. Oh. So I'm actually going to display this as here. Actually, no, 1 second. I'm just trying to think. Okay, so that's going to be position fixed. That's why it wasn't working earlier. That makes more sense. Okay. So what I want to do is actually give them some space. So we'll just do gap here. And let's just give them one EM space here. So we want to give them space in between each other. And I want to center them. So we'll just do justify content and then center. So we're using the CSS flexbox right now. That should center them. And it could be because gap. Am I supposed to say column gap? I don't know if Flex is allowing us just to say gap. I know grids do, but we'll just do column gap. And that should center them. Okay, I think it's because the width of the footer. So we'll just set the width to 100%. So footer should take up the full bottom. So we'll just do 100%. Okay, there we go. So we see those icons here, and I want to just beef these up a little bit, make them look a little bit better. So let's add in some border radius. So we'll go back to our icons. Control icon, so let's just do border dash radius. And let's just set that to 10 pixels, and let's just give it like a margin at the bottom. Well, actually, I want to add in some text here also, so let's do this. So we set that bottom right there. I don't know if you all can see that. So there we go. So we have our mute and our leave button. And just like the demo, I also want to make sure that we have some text here. So what I'm going to do is actually create an icon wrapper. And I just saw a really nice comment. Jason Perry says, Dennis, you are one of those $1 million a month Twitch streamers. Or are you? Oh, no, I'm definitely not. Okay, so it wasn't a comment, it was a question. Definitely not. Not even close. All right. I think I make like $10 for these streams just from ad revenue if it posts and does well after, and maybe some donations. Okay, so index.html. Okay, so let's create a wrapper around each one of these. So we'll just do a div here. And we just want to wrap each icon because I actually want to have some text. We want to let the user know exactly what it is. Maybe some users just don't understand the icon. So in this case, we're going to create a class here, and we're going to call this icon wrapper. So icon dash wrapper. And then underneath here, we're just going to add in some text here, and I'm going to say cam. And then let's just do the same for these other ones. So Okay, let's fix this positioning here. Paste this in, or paste this one right here. Oh, I threw myself off. Okay, so where's that icon wrapper? Dang it. So it looks like we have two icon wrappers. Okay, so for this one, we're just going to throw that in. This is going to be Mike. And then I'm going to take this Mike picture, copy that, and then we're going to paste this into the icon wrapper. And then we're going to take this leave icon. We're going to paste this into this one right here. So we're going to take that paragraph tag, and this is going to be leave. Okay, so let's check this out. So now we have some text, and I also want to center this too. I want to make sure that looks a little bit better. So let's fix that. So somebody asking for an extension, which one? VS Code theme is Atom 1 Dark Pro, and then I have auto rename tag that renames the opening and closing tag once I change it. So I don't know if that's what you're asking about. Okay, so let's go to the icon wrapper. We'll just add in the wrapper above it. So icon. And for this, we're just going to do justify content, and we'll just center this. Text-align, center. I'm just going to make sure everything's centered. And I don't need justify content. I just realized because I didn't make a flex box. So we're going to center that content, and then cursor is going to be pointer. So when we hover over it, we want it to show a pointer. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. So now when a user actually turns off their mic, I want to change this to where it actually changes the background color of this, the actual, the dark background that you see there. So it's going to look a little bit better. So let's go back into here and let's find mute. So let's see. I'm just going to do mute-icon, search for this in the JavaScript file. Okay, so mute button right there. So this is what we're going to work with. And what I'm going to do here is take the div here. So we're just going to go ahead and get the actual mic button. So we're going to take this item right here, and we're just going to do .style .background color. And I have a color that I'm going to use here, so I'm just going to paste this in. So we're going to set this background color. So when we mute it, when we set that to true, I have an RGB color I'm going to paste in. So this is going to give it like a red color, and it's also going to be transparent. So RGB 255, 80, 80, and then 0.7 is the amount. Now, if we unmute, I want to reset the color back to what it was. So on else, we're just going to go ahead and take the original color, and that was that hex color. So I'm going to remove all of this, and we're going to paste that in right there. Okay. So now let's go ahead and try this. So if I join, and at this point, it's just going to be over the screen. So let's go ahead and hear that echo. Well, actually, at that point, we've already seen this, so we don't need to do that. So if I hit mute, now my mic is muted and unmuted, so we can see that turn red. So let's actually paste this in again. We'll join here. Now we're going to hear the echo. Okay. We're going to mute that one. Mute this one. So now I can't hear anything. Unmute, and mute. Okay, mute is working, and the colors look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and do the same for the audio or the video track. So we're going to take this value right here, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So for this, we're going to take this down into the camera button click event, make that red. So we just pasted that in. In this case, we're going into camera button, and we're going to take this value right here too, and then set that back to black. Okay, so camera button. Let's save this. Let's check it out again. So we'll go back in here, open up both streams. I think I have it opened up in too many things. Okay, I'm going to mute both of those, turn off my camera, turn it back on, and that looks good. So if I turn this one off, that's good. I can turn off my own here from user number 2, and those are all working. All right, cool. So we have the two cameras. Mark says, still going. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to finish this up. I got so annoyed by the beginning. I'm still going to end up redoing everything, but yeah, I got to rebuttal here, I guess, and make up for the earlier mess ups. Okay, so what do we need to do now? So let's see. Not camera. So we're just doing styling now. So the logic is done, basically, of the application. Like we have everything working, but for anybody that's just catching up here. Okay, so I guess what I want to do is, first of all, I want to make sure that a lot of people can join. So let's make sure that's working, like more than just a few people. So I want to make sure that it layers downwards too. So I'm going to have to zoom out for this. I know that it looks way too small, the zoom button, but let's just bring this into frame. Let's bring in a second user. Join. Mute that mic. Let's bring in a third. Okay, cool. So that looks good. At this point, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this many users joining. And I know it's kind of lagging because I have my stream, I have all these cameras working, and now it's kind of messing up. So it looks like the camera froze up. Okay, so, oh shit. It looks like it's completely frozen. Yeah, so it looks like the camera froze up because of all the usage right now. So that's because I'm running all this on one camera. So that looks pretty good, actually. Just to add in some code here to make it responsive, let's go ahead and actually fix up something in the CSS here. And then I want to work on removing the footer and changing up that join button depending on where a user is at. So at this point, what we're going to do is just take the user streams ID here. So these user streams, we're just going to paste this down here. And what I want to do is make sure that once the screen gets smaller than 1400 pixels, I want to set the max width to a user stream to 400 pixels, and we're just going to leave everything else like this. So that's just going to change it up. So let's try this. So if I go here, join a stream, let's mute the mic before it echoes. Okay, so I guess I'll just zoom in, or I could just resize the screen. So I think that worked. Maybe I just didn't refresh it. I guess I'm too zoomed in. It's not gonna, or it's gonna be difficult to see it. Okay, grid template columns, min max 400 pixels. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so let's finish this up with removing our footer here. So when I join this application, first of all, the join button looks really bad. I don't want it to be right here. Second of all, I shouldn't see this right here. So this shouldn't be here because I haven't joined the video yet. So I want to make sure that a user joins before they see anything. So the first part is, or the first part of this is to make sure to go into main.css and find our footer. And I'm going to display none here. Not note, but none. Okay, so once we do that, I need to go into my JavaScript and I need to find the place where a user joins or when a user leaves here. So let's go into leave button and let's go ahead and change this. So we're going to go ahead and after this area where we remove the user streams, let's just go ahead and copy this, paste this down here, change this to footer. And what we're going to do here is set the style. So we'll just do style dot display. And let's see. No, this isn't in the leave button. Wrong place. Okay, so this is when a user. Okay, so when a user leaves a stream, the button should remove. So we'll just do none. The button should be removed. Now, let's try this out real quick. So let's go ahead and join. Let's leave. Okay, so the button is removed, but I also don't want it to show if I haven't joined yet. So let's go back to main.css, and I thought I already did display none. So this should hide the button originally. Okay, so, okay, perfect. So it is hidden. Okay, so when the user joins, let's take this value right here. So let's find the join event. So when a user joins, let's just go ahead and do footer.display, and then we'll just do flex. Then what we want to do is we also want to hide the join button. So I'm going to paste this in right here, and this is going to be join-btn. and we're going to do display none for the join button. And then I want to take this join button, and then when a user leaves, I also want to hide that join button. So join button display block, or I actually want to show it. Okay, so that should do it, and then we want to style that join button. Okay, so we don't see our footer. If I do join, we see the footer now. If I do leave, okay, so if I do join again, the button disappears. So the button's no longer there. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And then if I leave, the button reappears. So that's exactly what we needed. So now all I want to do is just style this button. So let's go into our CSS, and we want to style this button up. So we'll just do join button. Okay, so let's put this at the top somewhere. Site title. Let's put this underneath the site title. So we'll just do join-btn. And for this, we're just going to do position fixed. So we want to be able to just put it anywhere on the screen. Let's put left here. This is going to be 50%. This is how we're going to center it. So we'll just do 50%. And then bottom or top is going to be 50%. After top, we want to do transform. And this is going to be translate. And we're going to do -50. So it's a weird way to actually center something with a fixed element. So we're going to do -50 and then -50%. Wow, okay, can't write that. Okay, so that's transform. Background color, this is going to be that transparent black. So we'll just do background color, and I'm going to paste the hex color in. Okay, let's throw that in. Background color, and then border, well, we want to set that to none, so that's a button. We want to do border none. And then after the border, we want to set the text color, and it should be white already. So let's give this a test here. So here it is. So that's the join button, and it's very small right now. So I guess we do need to set the color. So we'll just do color. That's going to be FFF. And after that, we want to set the font size. I want to make sure this is bigger. So font size, this is going to be 22 pixels. And we'll just do padding. I'll set that to 20 pixels and 30 pixels. Okay, and the cursor pointer, I just want to set that, or I want to set the cursor to pointer. Okay, so let's try that out now. Okay, so here we go. We see the join button. Actually, I guess we should just say join stream. Seems a little bit too small. Cool. There we go. If I leave, join. All right. Does anybody want to test this? If anybody's on, I can make that link. Join Zoom, the chat, shake. Yeah, it was small. I guess it's a good size now, but does anybody want to join the chat? I'm going to go ahead and use ngrok again, and let's see if I can actually make this work. So do ngrok. So whoever missed it, we added ngrok, which lets us point a temporary URL to this to port 5000, I guess the port that we're using. So let's copy that. Let's see if I can actually make this work. Okay, so this link is live. Anybody want to, just go ahead and test it, and I'll shut it down in a minute here, or in a couple of minutes. So the link is live. Oh, some weird sound outside. And whoever wants to, go ahead and join that. If you have a camera and a mic, try to mute your mic as you join. So we are officially the stream. Let's see how many people we can have join before we break it. So ngrok is it's like a tool that, just look it up, just do ngrok, and that should take you to the website. It's a tool that allows you to basically create a URL, like a live URL that's used anywhere, and it points it to like a local host. So if you're on like port 8000, 5000 or whatever, it allows you to actually connect to it. Okay, so we have somebody joining. Nice. Cool. So he just muted his mic. So awesome. We can see that it's working. He muted his mic and he turned off the camera. Anybody else want to try that out? So the link is in the description. I can hear your delay. Nice.
Anybody else want to try that out? So
what's up, man? Here, I'm going to turn off the audio here so you guys don't hear the echo. Okay, so the Video screen is muted. Well, I guess I'll leave it on if anybody wants to chat. What's going on, man? I need to add in names.
Are we there? So we are 4.
Video screen is well, I guess I'll leave it on if anybody wants
I need to add in some names, guys, so y'all can register an actual name.
What's going on, man? I need to add in names.
Okay, I muted it on the stream. Awesome. It works. It's not that responsive. It shouldn't handle this many people, but yeah, that's a live link, and I think we're pretty much done at the stream. So 2 hours and 45 minutes. Is your mic on, by the way? Oh, everyone just took off. I guess I'm all alone. What's going on, man? Cool. I'm going to turn this off. If anybody has any questions, let's do a Q&A. That link will be live for a little bit. Let's see. What's our usage like? Okay, so I just left the stream. Let's go to Agora, and let's see how many minutes we've used up. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a Q&A. Whoever wants to, I'll go to the chat. The whole thing about this, everyone, is I learned this. Yeah, I'll add in a username. There's a lot of features. I learned this last week. I learned this on Friday. So Friday and Saturday, I just spent the weekend digging into their API, figure things out. So I just pretty much tried to share whatever I learned and what I know. So there's not that much, so I can't answer all the questions, but some questions about how it works and some ideas, let's go ahead and just ask those. So I'm actually going to go ahead and actually disconnect the URL here, and I'm also going to remove the token so nobody uses up all my Agora minutes. So we'll close everything out and let's have a conversation. So to close out a project, by the way, you could just go into projects and let's see, I think we used stream demo. So all I have to do is go down here and click disable. So now if anybody tries to use that token, I hope that it's just gonna stop them. I have to send a verification. Okay, anyways, I'll just do this after the stream. But let's go ahead and go back here. So all right, so I don't know what it cost. I honestly need to look this up. So let me pull up their pricing, because right now I'm using the free minutes and I've only used up about 400 minutes and I've been working all weekend on it. But I'll just look up Agora pricing and see what this is like. So agora.io. Here, let me just share my screen. Okay, so here's pricing, pay as you go, free 10,000 minutes, volume discounts. So what does this cost? I have no idea. Is it a WebRTC thing? Sort of. So I'm actually going to be working with WebRTC, and I want to do that with different types of applications. Agora actually uses WebRTC. I talked to one of the developers there, and he was saying that they basically created like a wrapper around it. So it uses WebRTC, so it's not like in competition or a different thing. They're just using that technology in here. Where can I find pricing? So let's see, Agora billings. Well, this is my information. Let's just Google this up. So Agora pricing. Thought it would take me to like a pricing breakdown. If anybody finds it, let me know. I'm actually curious myself. Support plans. Okay, here we go. So free. No, that seems like, yeah, well, I'll look into it before I freak someone else out with some prices that aren't right. I don't want to misrepresent them. I'll look into that, and then I'll be posting a video. But I'm definitely gonna have to redo the stream, and we'll give more information. Okay, so let me bring in my screen in here. Actually, let me change my screen size. Okay, cool. So please make a video call an app through Django. Yeah, so technically all we're doing here is creating an Agora app, and we are just connecting it to that Agora app and presenting our audio and video to the stream, but we don't have like a backend. So that's why you're not seeing user names. So we're going to have to create some kind of backend where users can have profiles, and then those profiles can basically generate a stream within an app. So I'll work on that, but it'd be kind of fun to actually do that. I I've thought about that. That's definitely a long-term plan. Like if I was trying to make like a WhatsApp clone or something, I would definitely build a backend so users can actually, do more than just have like one web page. Like right now, the only reason why that worked was because I actually hard coded the token and the app name, but you should be able to log into a website and see multiple pages. Kind of like, I guess, Ben Awad's Doge House. Like we can do just an audio version of that using something like this. That would work, or Twitch or something like that. Okay, so somebody posted a video full HD and above up to 1080, $8.99 per 1,000 minutes. I mean, that seems, I don't know. I mean, I guess I have to see how fast 1,000 minutes get used up. $8.99 per 1,000 minutes. I guess it depends where you're from, but really cool. Someone says below 10, 720. Thank you. That's actually really helpful to see this. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to try to keep the questions to this stream. Someone's asking, is Laravel worth learning? Yeah, of course. It's a huge, PHP is very popular. I don't want to get into those conversations, but there's a lot of good stuff to actually learn. I wouldn't advise against it, I guess. So did you make a video chat in web is heavy? I'm not sure about the question. Did I make a video chat, or what's the extension to that? Someone saying 99 cents per 1,000 minutes voice. Okay, cool. Is it Nidge? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing the name right. Thank you for your help. I appreciate that. Let's see if I miss any questions before. I'm not going to, yeah, I mean, the live site, the one on GitHub is actually better than what I coded because it has less mistakes in there. Like this one, I was coding live and we ran into a lot of things. So any changes that I will add, I don't know if I'll completely republish it or just publish a different branch, because the thing that I'm excited about is the chat feature. Like that's, so in this mockup, like in my rough mockup, let me just pull up this picture here. This is what I wanted to build right here. So this weekend I was trying to get things done quick and I didn't have that much time to work on the chat feature, but I kind of built this out where we have the video, mute and leave. This is kind of what I was trying to think of. But on the right side, we have this chat box right here. So I've seen this in applications, and I think it'd be really cool how just like in YouTube where you have this chat streaming on the right side, I think it'd be extremely cool to have the chat go in here and also display the user. So to display the users, we would need a backend or just allow people to add in their username, which I'll have to figure out how to do that. Or we need to just simply create a backend that allows them to do that. But in Agora, they have the messaging feature. So that's going to be my next thing besides working on custom usernames. This interactive or real-time messaging feature right here looks really cool. So I believe they use WebSockets. I don't know exactly how it's connecting, but they actually have in their SDK real-time messaging. And I see somebody asking about this, or about the whiteboards. How about screen share or whiteboards? So apparently they have interactive whiteboards right here. So as you mentioned that they have it, and they do have a screen sharing feature inside of the video call. So also something I need to look into. I can only do so much in a weekend. I had to learn all their documentation in 2 days, and that's just one of those things that I didn't get into. But interactive whiteboards and screen sharing and recording, by the way, too. Favorite code editor, VS Code at this point. So let's see, which app did you use to draw this out? Oh, that's just Paint. I just went to Microsoft Paint. If you look at the picture, like we're on Microsoft, I think everyone knows Paint. I just drew something up, so I made it quick. I always try to keep my designs and ideas simple before I start working on them. Okay, so how about handling data? What do you mean by that exactly? Agora does provide analytics. They have a whole section on that, like they can show you the usage, users, and so on. If you're trying to store data in your own application, in your own database, I'm pretty sure somewhere in their API, you're going to find a way to pass that data back and forth. So that should be pretty easy. So one more question about cost. I'm wondering if each person connected counts as a unique time. If you have two people, Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because it's minutes used. I'm imagining that would have an impact. It's kind of like server usage. Like AWS charges hourly, and if two people are on it, let's say two people are on for an hour, that would be 2 hours. I believe that's per user. Figma is great. Yeah, I use Figma too, but when I'm not showing somebody or I'm just trying to create a concept, I don't want to. It's just easier to just go to Paint and draw a couple of squares and make some notes. Cool. Well, no, the app is not built in Django. That was just using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. My plan with this is to try out different applications. I still have other projects I need to get to, but I want to do like a WhatsApp clone. I want to do just different video messaging platforms, maybe like a school system where teachers can host a class and anybody can join, or like a Discord type of clone. That's kind of the plan. And I started with HTML and CSS because I wanted to show how to use this outside of any framework, because you can do this with Vue, you can do this with Angular. Agora has all these different wrappers for those frameworks, and you can also figure out a way to do it on your own just using the API. If I start with just using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, well, if you use one of those frameworks, then you know how to do this. So I'm trying to keep it agnostic so you're not stuck on the framework that I'm using. But eventually I will probably move to a React version. If you want to see another video, Tech with Tim, he has it on his channel. Just do Tech with Tim, Agora video streaming app. And he does a full video app, not really styled, but it has the functionality of adding users and muting your mic and so on. So that's all with React, but I'll be building out different versions and just seeing what I can do with this. What about hosting on Heroku? So yes, that's 100% possible. So in this case, we only have a front end, so we can just deploy to Netlify or something like that. Not Netlify, but what was the other thing? Versal, there we go. You're just hosting a static site and you're connecting to the API. But if you're actually building out a full backend with Django, you would just still use Heroku with that. Yeah, you can use it in a Django app. I have Signals. Someone's saying OnlyFans knockoff. Yeah, I don't know. Not my thing. That's a whole. I have that on my YouTube channel. I have videos on that, and also in the paid version too. My course on Udemy. So I volunteered at a nonprofit that wants to build a life LMS. This would be great. Nice. So learning management system, I'm assuming, right? Light. Oh, Light. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's the thing. I have to look into the API. So there's two ways that I can see a user naming themselves. One is to have a backend. So when a user creates a stream, you'd have to like send that to a database so you know which user this is, and then just call the API from like your own backend, whether that was Django or anything else you use, and then you can bring up the username. But I'm imagining Agora has that feature built in. Let's just look this up. So I'm going to do some research. I'll just do Agora custom usernames. Okay. So I'm just going to look it up, and I know I'm not sharing my screen. I guess I could do that right now. It's not that important. So how can I get string names in Agora? So I'm just looking up some documentation. I would imagine that is simply just like a function that you'd call and generate a name. The Udemy course, just look up Dennis Ivy on Udemy and you'll find it. I have 3 courses there right now. It'll be easy to find. Just look up my name, just copy and paste my YouTube name. Okay, so, oh, here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen. I'm just finding something. I'm doing research with you all, so anything I know, like, I'm usually figuring stuff out on the go too. So I just looked up how can I use string usernames. This feature is in beta. Okay, it looks like there is a register local user agent method. Join channel with user account. So I don't see where a user would actually register their name. Get user ID. Yeah, okay, so it's definitely possible then, because you're seeing this function right here that says get user ID or get user info by ID. So that means that we're not just using a user ID, because right now you're just displaying a number. So that means that you can get the information by a user's ID, which would kind of presume that you can add in more information than just the actual ID. So let's see. Here, let me just do Control F and then just look up name. I just want to see if I can find like a function. Here we go, string channel name, join channel with user account. Okay, so let me just try to do some more research on enable observer, implement basic video call, join and leave Agora channel. Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll have that for you guys soon. Here, let me just stop sharing my screen. I'll look that up. 2 days isn't enough time to learn everything, so. I'm glad to hear that, Francisco. I guess, I don't know if my mess ups helped you or motivated you to show that anybody can do it, I guess, because I completely butchered the stream, but that makes me very happy to hear that. Jason, you're saying, there we go, looks super nice. Did you add that in yourself, or are you referring to the demo link or what? Curious if that's to the username. Or did you, I think you looked up the Udemy course. Oh, okay, that's what it sounds like. Okay, what about modal prompt, adding a name? Yeah, so adding a name is easy. All you do is you just add in some kind of form before you join. That can be a modal or a simple form, but how do you store that name? Because technically, here's what has to happen. You add in your name as your local agent or as your local user. That's easy to do because you would take the form information and you would simply append that to the HTML element. That's simple. But what about, let's see, who asked that question? I can't pronounce the name. What about everyone else? Let's say we have 5 people in a stream. When I add my name, you need to be able to get that name from the remote user. Remember that it works asynchronously, so that name needs to be sent somewhere and then brought down to your screen. So that means either Agora has to have that or you have to have your own API that can handle that. In that case, regardless, I'll find a way, but that's kind of what I'm saying where, oh, I guess I should pull up that one. So that it's not about putting the prompt in there or the form. That's the easy part. Alexa just said it's time for bed. All right, have a good night, Jason. You don't want to upset Alexa. Okay, any suggestions? I don't want to keep the conversation on Django, trying to just stick to this Agora chat thing, but any suggestions learning Django REST API? I have a couple of videos on that on YouTube and in my full Django Udemy course, but there's a couple of videos on there. I would just recommend finding any one of those, get started, and keep practicing with that. I think there's plenty of resources for it. Justin Mitchell has them, Just Django on YouTube. Okay, cool. Well, it seems like I'm kind of answered, most of the questions here. Thank you all for joining the stream. I will probably take it down for all the mess ups that happen. I will have to redo this at some point because it turned into a 3-hour stream when it should have been maybe an hour. Mark, my initial thoughts on Agora, on using Agora. I need to try to use WebRTC on its own, but here's what I'm seeing right now. It has a lot of built-in features to where the setup just seems so fast, outside of the fact that you are going to have to pay for it and the prices seem actually pretty good. Agora seems like a nice interface to not having to do everything yourself. The same reason why you might want to use some kind of framework like Django or maybe an API like Google Maps. They give you a really nice interface for it. So I'm absolutely impressed with it. I'm probably more excited about the messaging feature than I am about the video chat. That's the part I'm super excited to use. So the documentation can maybe use a little bit of work, like the demo apps. Some of those were still using jQuery, but I know they did move on to version 4.0. So maybe they fixed that. I didn't like the documentation as far as that part, but I'm absolutely impressed with how easy it was to get that working. That took minutes outside of the stream mess ups. Very, very quick. I said I was going to end it, but then I'm seeing all these questions coming in. Cool. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I guess it's all the goodbyes. I'll see you guys later, and we'll take down the stream most likely, and we'll redo it. Take care, everyone.